I'm back. I can't watch that debate. That was rough. I tried. Cannot do it. I tried. Cannot do it. Let's get some more peeps up here. The argument from morality is an interesting one. Yo, what's up? If moral judgments exhibit cross-cultural convergence, A, non-moral explanations for disagreement, B, objective phenomenological weight, and C, genuine historical progress, the best explanation is that objective moral facts exist. Cross-cultural moral judgment reliably exhibit. And let's see, it's an inference argument. I see now. What up, Ginger? What's cooking? How's it going, y'all? You guys having a good Sunday night? What's up, Dave? You doing good, man? I don't know, did you watch Jesus and Whatnot debated some atheist lady that's on TikTok? I watched it for a little bit. It was rough to watch. Did you catch any of it? It's Jesus and Whatnot. He's gotten pretty popular. He debated this born again atheist is her name. You've probably seen her around TikTok, maybe. She's absolutely ridiculously stupid. And it's tough to watch. But you could watch it a little bit if you want to just hear her rant and rave for a while. He's a Catholic, so he comes at it with like a little bit different like thinking than I do. I'm not really familiar with Thomas Aquinas. But yeah, it was interesting to say the least. Dave is a expert on Hebrew Israelite. I need to have like an Hebrew Israelite prompt and have you come up one night. Would you do that, Dave? Come up one time? That'd be cool. I'll have to plan it one night where it's not super late, so you can actually hang out. Because I want to see these debates in real time. God never tore Mary's virginity. They debate divinity. I don't know who divinity is. I've seen him. I've heard of him a couple times. I'm gonna look him up. Who's divinity? You know, the person I really would like to actually have a real discussion with is Ian. Prophet Divinity, is that his name? Check your premises. Yeah, I've never heard of this guy. He probably would cook me. I'm not surprised I haven't ran into Divinity. Does he not do a lot of lives? He just does a lot of human nursing God logic of Mary worshiping her own son as God. Yeah. If Jesus was God, it makes sense. Dave, thanks for being my mod. I appreciate it. He just joins live. Well, maybe he'll hop in one. Maybe I debated him. I don't know. I'm gonna start posting my stuff on my YouTube, so maybe it'll actually be on there. By the way, for abortion, would you grant exception for rape victims or no? I never heard that. I'm gonna just say that bluntly, unaliving innocent human beings is wrong, no matter how they were conceived. So I think as horrible and evil that is, if it, like you're asking me just based on pure ethics, I'd have to say it's wrong no matter how they were conceived. Unfortunately, I don't think he knows you, so he'll have to join here on his own. Yeah. Truth Seeker, aka. Well, just wait, looking for a debate. Someone wants to come up, you're welcome to. I think Christianity is rational. I don't think really that's that bold of a claim. That Christianity is rational. I don't know who these people are y'all are talking about. I'm like an old man, dude. I don't get on TikTok a lot. Last night was Wild Host. I had some interesting people last night. I did post on YouTube. I need to get back into the abortion debate. Silent, is that his name? Look him up. I'll follow these people. Identity and Silent. Silent? Yeah, I don't know who these people are. New song. I feel like I'm not on the right person. I think this is just a chick singing. Dean Withers. I have debated Dean. He actually came on my live. We debated abortion. It's on my YouTube if you want to check it out. I was pretty shocked to see it was Dean, because I guess he runs an alt account called Anthony, and he likes to do like his discussions about like philosophy and stuff on. I really would like to debate him on God, Christianity, because I know he's like agnostic, I believe. Yeah. Well, like and share. TikTok is telling me to like this thing. I need more people up here someone to debate me. Oh, there we go. Got someone up here. Dad.
What's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
All right. What can I call you? It says just
make the case.
Make the
you
case.
Can see yeah. What's up, man? My name's Ben.
So you say Christianity is rational? I mean, I'm an atheist, so I would believe that it's not. How's Christianity rational to you?
I think God exists. I think there's plenty of strong reasons to think God exists. We could debate that if you like, because I don't know if you really care too much about the historical evidence for Jesus Christ's resurrection. Because I could probably give you all the evidence in the world, and you're just going to say it can't happen because God doesn't exist.
I mean, what's good? I mean, what's a good evidence for the historical narrative?
I mean, if you want to go down that road, I mean, let's just humor me for a second. Let's just pretend the Gospels are biographies of Jesus, that they are written early, within 20 to 30 years of Jesus' ministry, his execution, connected to eyewitnesses, two of his disciples, one person that's interviewing people, and then another person that is a scribe of an eyewitness. We have about 27 independent sources within those Gospels. And you also have the corroboration of Paul, from Creed and Paul, that goes back to within a couple of years of Jesus' death in Jerusalem. All these people kind of psychologically thought that their Messiah was going to be a Davidic-like king to overthrow Rome. And what ended up happening is they thought that they were completely wrong, and Jesus Christ was actually God, and changed their entire worldview around quickly. And then you throw in the minimal facts of Jesus existed, was crucified, buried in the tomb. The tomb was discovered empty, and the conversions of skeptics, Paul and his brother James. So I guess my question would be, how would a naturalist, I assume you're a naturalist?
Always.
Or a materialist, maybe. The only thing that exists is matter, energy.
As far as we know, yeah.
Explain those facts.
I mean, I'll give you my version of it. Right?
Hit me with it.
So my version of it is that human beings create stories. We conceptualize stories. And unfortunately, sometimes we fall into a belief system of these conceptualized stories. So similar to how many other civilizations have divinely so-called stories, and they believe it to be true. So much so that they sacrifice children and human beings to it, right? Although we know that those today, which you would agree with me, those gods don't exist. They're just of a conceptual nature. They fall into these belief systems because of fear and indoctrination. Yeah.
But
You
I'm
understand what I
talking
mean?
about the early disciples. They were saying this is a public event that happened. This wasn't like something that were just like brought up in as a culture of like, hey, we believe this. They were out there proclaiming like, hey, you guys executed the Messiah. You got the Messiah is alive. We saw him. We ate with him. Like it seems a little bit different, right? Like this is a public event, a public setting, in a public city during Passover in which thousands of people were in the city. Like he was buried in a public tomb. The tomb was discovered empty by women followers. We have good evidence. Like this is what I'm saying is not like this is why I think it's rational. Is because like everything I'm saying, atheist scholars will say, yeah, these are
Let's all right.
facts of history.
Let's look at it this way, right? We're saying it's rational, right? It's rational. All right. If I was to say to you that I don't know, I had a girlfriend and she told me that she was a virgin and now she has a baby and I was never with her, would you? And she
Yeah, I would
tells
believe you.
me that you wouldn't believe me. Why so? That would be
Because
irrational,
that's
right?
a no. I mean, that's not irrational. I mean, there's nothing illogical about it. It's just
You're about to say it. You caught yourself, but it's okay.
no.
So,
There's nothing illogical about it. It's not like a square circle. It's just highly improbable. I would need a
all
lot more
right,
evidence of it. Now,
all right, no problem, no
if
problem, no
a
problem, no problem.
bunch of people came out and said, "Yeah, this happened," and then that the son goes on to get executed in a public city, gets buried in a public tomb. Tomb is discovered empty, and various
We gotta take
people.
it one by one. We gotta take because
I'm
you're
just
saying
saying that that's a
Christianity.
very one sliver, one
I
person.
got
I'm
you.
trying to
Hey,
present a
listen.
case where
Before you
this
said
is
I
a
got you, I
lot of
got you.
more than that.
Yeah, it's a big story, right? So let's put it this way, right? Do you believe? I'm assuming that you believe that Jesus was the Son of God, born of a mortal woman.
Yes,
Do you agree to that? All right.
yes.
So Hercules was born of a mortal woman, and his father was a god. Would you consider that to be so?
Let me look it up. Because a lot of times people make these claims and they're actually, if you actually read into it, that's not so accurate. But yeah, let's look it up. Was
Mm-hmm.
Hercules born of a mortal woman and a
Mm-hmm.
god?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be right. Yes, Hercules. There you go. Zeus and yeah. Okay.
All right. So would you believe that story to be true?
No,
Okay. But if I tell you Jesus was born of a mortal woman and a
I
god,
wouldn't
who is
believe
the
it.
father,
If that was
you wouldn't
it,
believe.
like if that was all you told me point blank, when I was an atheist and you told me that point blank, I'd be say that's insanely stupid.
I know, but if I that's what I'm saying. So do you see
Yeah, I'm
how?
saying you'd have to. I would have to present a lot more evidence for me to say that that's not stupid. You're just stating
All right. So
one
here.
fact.
Okay. So
Let's move
case.
on.
Wait. Wait.
Or whatever it is. Like we could go down this rabbit hole, and I could tell you all the reasons why this is, historically valid and reliable and whatnot. You're not going to care.
Can I
So
give you
let's
one
talk
more?
about.
Can I give you one more before
You
we
can give me
switch?
all these
Just
ridiculous
one more.
examples. I'm not
Just
going to
one more.
believe it because
I
a
won't.
big claim
I'll
needs a
leave
big
Jesus out of
amount
it.
of evidence.
I'll leave
Yeah, I
Jesus
get
out
what
of
you're
it. I'll leave
doing.
Jesus.
Go ahead. I don't really care. Go ahead.
Okay. So if in your Bible it says that Adonai, right, which is I'm being respectful with the name. Adonai created the world through his speech, right, through his word. You would consider that to be true, right?
Like you
But
think
there's an
verbal, like audible, like the words repercussion through air? No, it's a
well through
metaphor.
his.
Like speech isn't a thing that a non-physical entity can do.
Well, I'm
So
saying that
it's
that's
an
what.
allegory. It's an idiom. It's not like actual God
Not a problem.
Yahweh that Jesus Christ is saying. Let
No,
there be
not a problem.
light.
But I'm saying that in the book, I mean, you could be right. It could be an analogy. Right? It could be an analogy. I'm not against that. So I'm saying in your book, right, it does state it is so the case, right? At least in the book.
It says that. Yeah, it says it.
So in Egyptian mythology, that I believe is older than the Hebrew text, if I'm correct. There's a God named Fat, and Fat created the world and the universe through his thought and his speech. But if I
Cool.
was to tell you that that's what the
Yeah,
Egyptian
cool.
mythology,
Cool. Dude,
all
yeah,
right, all right, all
I'm
right,
just
wait,
telling
wait,
you,
wait.
as a former atheist,
I got
you're
you,
an
I got you. No,
atheist.
no,
I'm
no problem.
saying
No
if
problem.
this is why I didn't really want to have this debate with you on this topic. Well, I'll gladly talk about God, but
Yeah, we
like
can switch it. It's okay.
I could literally give you a dump truck of evidence, and you're just gonna say it doesn't matter. Miracles can't happen because God doesn't exist.
No, miracles can happen. Yeah, miracles happen all the time.
So the laws of physics can be bent.
Yeah, so just because it's it's uncommon doesn't mean that it's not natural, right?
So I'm when I say a miracle, like the resurrection of Jesus would be a miracle, right? As in the fact of like this is like pretty much physically impossible
Well,
unless
have you
something
heard of?
divine is intervening into it.
Well, there have been some cases where some people have thought to have passed, and then later up wake up in a morgue. These things have happened.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just, in
So,
this sense though, where they're executed by the Romans like in this manner, where it's not like it's pretty much scientifically impossible for someone like this to be revived, for a tomb to be empty.
no,
Listen,
I don't disagree with you.
let's just move on because it does you clearly I could sit here and go through like spend 30 minutes talking and you're just gonna not care. So I don't really feel like having that debate right now. But if we go on to talk about the existence of God, I'm welcome to have that.
Yeah, we can talk about God if you like, bro.
Sure. So
I mean,
what why
if
are
you
you an
don't want me
atheist?
here, I don't have to
No,
be here.
no,
Just in case I don't
I
want to
want to
bother
have
you.
this. I want to have this discussion. I just don't want to. I don't want to waste my time.
All right, no worries, no worries, no worries. So the reason why
So
I'm an
why are
atheist,
you? So yeah, why are you an atheist?
yeah, so I just don't believe that there's enough evidence to prove that there's a specific deity that is the authority or the creator of that which we see in front of us. So, like I've always been open for my mind to be changed, right? So I'm okay with that. I'm not here to like beat you down. But if you have an
Beat me down.
evidence,
I do not care. Beat me down.
no, no
This is
worries.
an
So I'm
open
just saying
dialogue.
the natural world exists. The natural world is we are understanding the natural world as it's revealing itself to us, and we are communicating that amongst ourselves. And we just because we don't understand it completely doesn't necessarily mean we have to jump to a conceptual deity. So that's just my position.
Sure. I
So
would. I think we should infer it if that's where the evidence goes, though, right?
I mean, if it's good evidence, yeah, but if it's bad evidence,
Sure.
then
Yeah. That, obviously, we should infer things based off bad evidence.
yeah, because you could give me evidence, but you
Sure.
know,
So, like, let's just talk about. Have you heard of the argument from design, the teleological argument?
yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that
I've
argument.
been kind of looking into it some more. So I'm curious. So cosmologists, astrophysicists, whatever, says there's about 30 or so cosmological constants that are independent. So are you familiar with that at all? Like, I don't know if you've heard this argument or not.
I've heard the argument, but not that specific point that you just made. So
So,
you could
like, one of
elaborate on that.
them would be like the cosmological constant, and you could look this up. It's like the rate of the expansion of the universe. I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 10 to the 200th or something ridiculous power where they can actually model this stuff out. And if it's just slightly one number off by a zero, zero, like I can't remember how many zeros, the universe, like particles are light years apart from each other, or the universe collapses back on itself. And so that's just one of 30. You have like how I don't know nucleus, the strong nuclear force, how chemistry happens. If this certain way, heavier elements cannot be created, carbon like life cannot exist, and so that's also in a very 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 narrow range. And if you put all 30 together, the question is to you would be what explains why all these 30 are in such finely tuned narrow ranges. And so
Yeah.
you'd have to say, I think these are the live options. You'd have to say it's blind luck. It's just the random chance. It's necessary. It has to be this way. It's a multiverse. There's just an infinite amount of universes, or it's by design. I think that's a logical four answers. So I'm curious, what do you think would make the most sense?
Since I don't have the mathematical intelligence or the scientific vocabulary or understanding of what you just said, honestly, right? I would have to really look into it and look at what they're saying, right? Because scientists can make mathematical equations. Some could be correct, some could be proven wrong in the future, right? But I
Well,
wouldn't know.
these aren't like theories. These are like actual, like these are what they are. They're just like the law. They're like the laws of physics, the laws that govern our physical world.
Yeah. So the way
So
that
it's
I
not like
see
a
it, right?
theory. It's just like the question I'm asking you is what
Yeah,
explains
absolutely,
the evidence that we see.
absolutely. I got you. So I believe. I have to say I believe, right? Because I cannot speak for the universe itself, right? I'm not the well. I'm in the universe, but I'm not the universe, right? So I think that what we're observing is the universe in action. So the same way human beings are evolving in their DNA by what's the word? What's that thing called again? Um, Survival of the fittest, right? I think that's the
Okay,
bad word. I think that's a horrible statement to put it in, but I think that the universe itself is just
I mean
trial
you're
and
probably
error.
right. Yeah, you're probably
Yeah,
right.
it's trial and error,
But
and
this is this these fundamental physical constants go back to the Big Bang. So it's not like they're just like, oh, in this universe or this galaxy, they're going to have a different law of gravity. In this galaxy, they're going to have a different law of weak nuclear force. Like this is for the whole universe as a whole. So like for there to be even planets that form, for the matter to like coalesce, for stars to blow up, for new elements to form, you have to have these physical constants in these certain ranges.
can I ask you a question? What do you think that the universe is?
A contiguous amount of physical space time.
Okay. So, do you believe that we're observing the universe?
Sure.
So, if we're observing the universe in action, right, and we can give mathematical equations to these observations, why is that, as a human being, why is that not enough for you? Why must you add God to that?
Well, so like in science, we ask why questions all the time. Why does a rock fall? Why does an apple fall? Why does, I don't know, the orbits the way they are? So I'm just saying, why are these physical constants the way they are? How we do everything else in rationality. I'm saying apply the same type of like logic to this question, and then you're going to be stuck with God exists or some other ridiculous idea, or we're crazy lucky. That's pretty much
All
all
right.
you
So,
got.
so when you say God exists, is it a fair representation when I say you're speaking about an all powerful being that is able to do basically anything?
Under this argument is you're just going to get to a God or something that's truly strong enough, powerful enough to create a universe. I don't think you're going to get much else out of this argument.
Yeah,
Probably a
so when I
mind, a mind that created the universe. That's about all you're going to get out of this argument.
yeah, so if we're observing the universe evolving and creating itself, right? Because the universe,
I
in
don't know
my
what
point
that
of view,
means. How does the
all
universe create itself?
I got you there. No worries. So that's actually a good question. So you're observing the ecosystem. I'll put it this way: you have an ecosystem in the earth, right? That
Like talking about,
ecosystem.
okay,
Sorry.
talking about biology.
Yeah. Well, there's an ecosystem in the earth. There's wind, there's
Sure.
water, there's earth, plants. This allows us to weed ourselves, feed from the fruits and the animals, and then we die and we give nitrogen to the earth, which keeps this whole ball moving, right?
Yeah.
So in that ball of movement, what we observe is that the Earth is basically taking care of itself, right? When we expand that somewhat further, sorry,
You're good.
when we expand that further, you see that we have the sun, the moon, the Earth, all these planets, are basically creating a solar system in order for Earth to be able to produce life. Can we see that far?
Yeah, this seems to be what's going on.
So you have these planets, you have this movement which is contingent upon itself, right? If
It's
we don't,
contingent on other things. Other things had to happen for our solar system to exist. Other things had to happen for our galaxy to exist. They're all contingent. This is another argument. Why do contingent things exist at all?
I'm saying, so if when we look at these contingent things, right, we only see the matter that is involved within itself. Why must you, instead of understanding the matter
Because
that it is?
I get what you're asking. I'm just saying, like, what? So, are you think it's not okay for us to ask why does gravity, like, what? How does gravity work? Why does it work? Because that's
No,
just
you can ask
matter.
that.
It's just falling. Are we allowed to ask why it is the way it is? I'm saying apply the
What
same
if?
thing to
What
the
if?
to the what it appears to the fine tuning of the universe. Do the exact same logic. That's it.
Yeah. So what if the find? Okay, let me put it this way. What if the observable universe, right, that what we're limited to seeing right now, is in fact, right, is in fact its own creative. It's
That
happening
makes
in
no
itself.
sense. How?
Thing
Show me
is,
anything that can create itself. Can you create yourself?
okay,
Can
did
anything
God
physical
create?
create itself? This is what the difference between
What?
contingent and necessary. This
Oh,
is
I
what the
got you. Who
contingency
cre-
argument gets to. Is there something that's necessary? It's something that cannot create itself.
Okay,
Can you think of
this is
anything
my
physical that could create itself?
physical that could create itself. Well, we're made out of atoms, right?
I know, but did you create yourself?
Yeah, we don't know that, right? We don't even know if the word
No, you
creation
came
is
from
the,
your parents, right? Get it all.
okay. No problem. Listen, though, I'll just ask a simple question. What if what we're observing is the creator and not what your book says it is?
Like this pen is the creator.
No, I'm talking about the observable universe.
Yeah,
What
this
if
pen's in
that
the
is?
observable universe.
Don't be cynical. I'm asking you a serious question. You know what?
I am. I'm
Listen,
asking you. I'm asking you a serious question. Like this
okay, I'm
pen
not
is a
asking
part
you
of the
about the
observable
pen.
universe, right? So what? I don't know what you mean. Like by God, I mean something that's necessary that has to exist. Again, you're not even answering my question. What explains all these cosmological constants being in the fine tuned ways they are? You're not even answering the question. You're not even trying to answer the question.
Well, you
You're
have.
just saying God is the stuff around us. I don't know what that even means.
I'm saying that the way that mass, space comport with each other, I can't even explain it. I don't even have the language to explain it.
Yeah,
What you're
yeah,
observing as fine tuning is the universe in action, right? So you're
yep.
trying to add the concept of Jesus to the
No,
observable
no,
universe.
no. I'm saying the teleological argument is a good argument that gets to God. I think it's a solid inference that God exists.
It doesn't
And
get to God. You
if
just
you could,
add God to the end of it.
so let's try it again. These are the constants that we see. This is not a debate. This is the constants we see. Almost every astrophysicist, cosmologist will agree with this. These are finely tuned. They're not going to use. They will use fine tuned because they are so precise. If that is the case, you are left with I think four rational options. Use fine tuned because they are so precise. If that is the case, you are left with I think four rational options: complete randomness, necessity, they have to be the way they are, design, or a multiverse. That is it. So I'm asking you, which one do you think makes the most sense?
You said, can you repeat what you said? You said the multiverse, design.
Hey, I
What were the other
appreciate
two? I'm
that.
sorry.
I'm probably going to move on to someone else. I appreciate you coming up, though, man.
No worries, man. Take care, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I'm not trying to be rude. I just Yeah, okay. I think we ran our course there.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, Elf? Hey, he fell. I'm horrible at that. Sorry about that.
You just call me A.
Hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Nice. How old are
Stuck
you?
on topic.
How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 18.
You're 18. What's up, man? Christianity is
Yeah.
rational. I think God exists.
You
Feel
think
free
God
to-
exists?
Yeah. Well, I'm a Christian,
Yeah.
so I kind of have to.
Yeah. I guess I could give an argument in opposition to God's existence.
Sure.
I think the proposition atheism is necessarily true is possible.
No, I disagree.
You disagree that's possible?
Yeah.
How do you
'Cause
determine whether or not a proposition?
if it's possible God, a necessary thing doesn't exist, then that is not a necessary thing.
Well, to be clear, how do you determine whether or not a proposition is possible?
Yeah, it's true in all possible worlds.
No, I'm asking, how do you determine whether or not a proposition is possible?
Well,
Not
you
what
said
necessary.
you sound like when you came up, you said, is it possible that atheism is true necessarily, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just being careful with my words. No, I cannot say atheism is true necessarily.
Well, no. What I was asking you is, how do you determine whether or not a proposition is possible on its own?
Like how a proposition is justified to be true.
Yeah, like how do you determine whether or not a proposition is logically possible?
Logically possible if it's to break the laws of logic.
Interesting.
Like a square circle would be logically impossible, right?
What laws of logic do you think the proposition atheism is necessarily true breaks?
Well, yeah, I would have to kind of spell that out. I'm just saying, under my worldview, if I believe God is a necessary being, I cannot say that there is some possible world where a necessary being doesn't exist, right?
Well, that would just be, inserting your worldview into the thing that hasn't been.
Yeah,
proven
I'd
yet.
have to justify it. I don't mind doing that. I'm just saying I cannot grant that it's possible God does not exist.
I mean, yeah, I can justify the
It's
possibility.
like saying
of the
one is
proposition.
necessary; it has to exist. 1 + 1 = 2 is necessary, but there is a possible world where 1 + 1 = -infinity. Obviously, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I can justify the possibility of the proposition.
Sure, go for it. I mean, I'm gonna disagree with you, but you go ahead.
Yeah. Looks like we just take like a conjunctive truth table, plug in the postulates P and Q. We put for P, atheism is true, and then for Q, necessarily, at least one of the evaluations that outputs that's true. So I think it's something logically possible, given the conjunctive truth table.
Rewind that back. I'm not a Phil Broy, so you have to take
Okay,
it
yeah,
easy
that's
on me.
fine. We take a conjunctive truth table. All that does is evaluate the logical coherency of a proposition.
So
We
God
take the
does not
postulate-
exist.
Yeah, we take the postulates P and Q, we plug it in. For
So a
P,
necessary
we put,
mind does not exist.
we put atheism is true.
Yeah, a
P?
necessary mind does not exist.
Yeah, necessary mind does not exist. For Q, necessarily.
Okay, that makes no sense.
Yeah, and
A
then
necessary
evaluates-
mind has to exist necessarily.
Well, no, we just want to say the necessary mind. Well, when we talk about things that are necessary, they're either necessary or impossible, right?
No, I mean I'm not necessary, but I'm here.
Well,
I'm
no,
contingently
I'm talking about
true.
specifically about necessary things. Like something which is necessary is either necessary or impossible. Like it's either
it seems like you have necessary, contingent, or impossible.
Well, yeah, when we say something is necessary, like if it's logically impossible for that thing to be exist, but it's proposed as necessary, then it's just impossible.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. I'd grant that. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, well, it seems like your objection is that God necessarily exists. Therefore, my argument fails. What's the motivation
Yeah.
for that?
Because I think God necessarily exists. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll gladly give you why I believe that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'm curious to think. Are you an atheist?
Yeah, I am an atheist.
Are you a materialist?
Well, no, actually, I'm an agnostic. I wouldn't say I'm atheist.
Are you an atheist?
Yeah, I am an atheist.
Are you a materialist?
Well, no, actually, I'm an agnostic. I wouldn't say I'm atheist. I'm an agnostic.
Okay. Are you a materialist?
I mean, substance dualism seems pretty appealing. I'm not sure. Like, I'm leaning. Like, I say I'm on the fence on that.
I think substance dualism is quite strong, but like if you're gonna grant that substance dualism is a live option, You have to admit the jump to theism isn't that big of a jump. You're saying immaterial consciousness animates physical stuff. That seems like the
I
leap
mean, well,
to that
I
immaterial
think
consciousness
the leap.
grounding logic is not
I
crazy.
th- well, I think the leap from we have this mind that's distinct from the brain and it's immaterial to now we have this other mind that's disembodied and can actualize anything logically possible and is all powerful, all knowing. I think that's a pretty big jump.
I mean, I agree. I mean, it's not like it's just like a direct there, but I mean, you have to admit, like saying there is something
I mean, it's more
immaterial and it's
plausible.
actually legit
Theism.
conscious, pure consciousness.
Well, yeah, I can
You're
admit if
saying
we
your
take
mind is not
substance
the same thing as the physical brain, and that's a pretty like most atheists do not accept that. And I think it's because I think once you grant that, then you're saying, okay, there's an immaterial reality that has actual ontological status. This seems to be able to have some type of free will. It's not bound by the physical antecedents before it. So it seems like free will could be a true libertarian free will. Then it's like, okay, we believe that there's necessary truths that exist, like mathematical truths, logical truths that exist that are also metaphysically true. They're not contingent on physical stuff. It seems as though, okay, if you have all these mental properties, I think these logical truths are mental in nature. They're semantic, relational, like they're necessary. I think the best conclusion is they're grounded in a necessary mind. I don't think you're that far off if you think substance dualism is a rational position.
I mean, yeah, I think if we take substance dualism, the theism thesis seems more plausible. But right now, that's what's in dispute. And like we were talking about why God is going to be necessary.
Sure. So I'll get to my cut to the chase. Do you think the proposition, the law of non-contradiction, is true in all possible worlds?
Yeah, I think that's true in all possible worlds.
Is there a possible world where nothing physical exists?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's true in that world. So the proposition, the law of non-contradiction, is true. It exists in that world. Where do propositions come from?
Where do propositions come from?
Yeah.
Well, we can take propositions to be the kind of thing which is abstract. Like they don't specifically have to relate to like concepts or these specific things. Like that's why when we talk about propositions, they're distinct from sentences.
Yeah, they have content to them, though, right? They're semantic.
Yes, semantic.
But where do you like if you're using a lot of words, conceptual, abstract, semantic, relational, where do those usually come from?
I mean, these just like bare words come from the mind, obviously.
There you go. So I'm going to say that I don't think I'm making a wild claim to say these are like a web of abstract necessary truths. It seems kind of bloated ontology to say there's an infinite amount of them that just relate to each other. They're semantic. If all these things are properties we see in minds in every other domain, why not just say in this domain, it comes from a mind? It'd be much more parsimonious.
Well, to be clear, what's being said is that when we talk about propositions and how they're usually related to a mind, at least the communication of the said propositions is what's related to the mind. I think the propositions exist independently of a mind. So if we have a true proposition that says, I guess Earth exists and then no humans exist, well, that's just a proposition that's mind independent.
Okay, so you're saying there's some is there all propositions are mind independent?
I think some propositions can be mind dependent.
So you have an arbitrary line of what propositions are mind dependent and which ones are not. How do you determine which one's which?
Yeah, so we determine which one is which when we look at the causalness of the proposition. So we want to say propositions that are caused by agents are the kind that are mind dependent. So for example, we would say a proposition like what's a good example? A proposition like well actually that doesn't sound like too convincing on second thought. Like I don't think that propositions can be, what did I say? Yeah, I don't think propositions can be caused by a mind. I think
propositions
or no true propositions. I don't think a mind. I don't
mental
think
at all.
Yeah, I don't think subjects can make a proposition true.
Yeah, I'm not saying we do make a proposition true. I'm saying propositions are mental in nature.
I
I'm saying
mean,
God would you have to admit that if God is the grounding of what truth is, and these propositions you just admitted exist metaphysically, wouldn't it make sense that they're grounded in something that's necessarily true? That seems mental. I mean, I feel like that's not a
like
huge leap.
we can parody it and like say, like for example, we want to take the universe to be something necessary. And if we take the universe to be necessary, well, then we want to say the universe grounds all true propositions because there exists
But
no world in which there are these
could
true
there be
propositions.
could the universe be different?
Could the universe be different? Well, obviously, if we're taking the necessary stance, no.
But
Everything's
like
necessary.
obviously that's ridiculous. We can like we obviously I could not exist. I mean, I don't I'm not a square circle. I could not exist. I'm clearly contingent. The law of gravity seems to be contingent. The law of the cosmological constant seems to be contingent. Like we literally can run models, counterfactual physics of the world being different. I can't do counterfactual logic where the law of non-contradiction isn't always true. So
Well,
I would say that the universe it cannot be necessary. I think that's absolutely insane.
I mean, to be fair, you can be a dialetheist and reject the law of non-contradiction always being true.
Yeah, but do you think the dialetheism could be true and false at the same time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Because
so you
that's
don't
what
believe the law of
dialetheism
non-contradiction.
promotes.
Yeah, but do you?
Dialetheism,
I'm asking you. Do you think the law of non-contradiction can be violated?
yeah, if you're a dialetheist.
Okay, I
If
am
you're a
asking
dialetheist.
you. Do you think the law of non-contradiction can be violated
Well,
at any point in time?
okay, yeah, my view on that, probably not.
Okay, well, you kind of admitted just a second ago that the law of non-contradiction is true in every single possible world. That means literally it can never not be true. So I don't care if I think by that logic, you have to admit dialetheism makes no sense. You'd have to work a way around it.
It depends on like, we have sound arguments, or at least prima
Well, you
facie
just said
cogent arguments for
we,
dialetheism.
but you
Like,
don't say we. You just admitted the law of non-contradiction is necessarily true.
I mean, yeah, like, that's
Dialetheists
my
will
stance
deny
on it.
that.
I mean, yeah, that's my stance on it now. All I said is we have cogent arguments in favor of dialetheism.
Okay, well, you just kind of shot it down just a second ago and said that it can't be true and false at the same time.
Well, yeah, there's a difference
Okay,
from me
well,
saying,
then
like,
you're
I
saying
hold
a
to the view.
priori, then the law of
For one,
non-contradiction is more fundamentally true.
like, to be clear, there's a difference from me, holding to a view and then saying, well, this opposing view can also have cogent arguments.
But I know, but I'm just saying if you really think what you just said is true, that the law of non-contradiction is true that in all possible worlds, then you have to, by definition, think it is not true that the law of non-contradiction could be false in some possible world. You're making
Well, yeah.
you're
Sure,
what
that's
you're
fine.
saying is
That's
contradictory.
That's fine. Look,
Okay. I feel like I feel like I kind of threw out my argument to you. I don't think you. I think
I don't
what I've
think the
said
argument's gotten us to God, to be clear.
I mean, okay. If you are a Platonist, essentially, as it sounds like, you believe in an infinite amount of abstract ideas, like propositions, whatever concepts, abstract. I am saying if you literally anything else, any other domain, I asked you if it's semantic, propositional, whatever, relational, you're going to say it comes from a mind. But on this, you're going to say it's not, doesn't come from a mind.
To be
I
clear,
think that is being arbitrary with your logic, and I think being arbitrary with your logic is a bad idea.
okay, yeah, let's just clarify things. To be clear, we talk about laws of logic. Do you think the laws of logic are some things with like an ontological grounding?
Yes, that's my whole point.
Yeah, and
I don't think they just metaphysically exist relationally as brute facts just for no reason.
Yeah, and then you think this ontological ground has some further metaphysical explanation that's God, correct?
I think it's mental, necessary mental.
Are you a Christian idealist?
I mean, no, I'm not an idealist. I'm a substance dualist.
No, when I say idealist, all I mean is that like reality is God's mind.
No, I'm a substance dualist. I mean, I believe ontologically, I am a different substance than God. Although I will look into that some more. I don't know if I've wondered if I am or not. But
okay, It was an
Well,
interesting.
how about you come up another night? I actually really did enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, it was an interesting chat. Yeah, I'll probably be back some other time. Like, when
Yeah,
do you
man, give
think
me a
you'll be
follow.
streaming next?
I honestly stream almost every night, so I'll probably stream tomorrow night.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll
Yeah, come
probably be
up,
back tomorrow.
come up.
Have a
I
good
got
one.
other arguments that we can hash it out on.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one.
I miss. Apparently, your mom was in the chat. What's up,
Yo,
guys? My name is Make the Case. Give me a follow if you like these kind of discussions. I'm trying to grow up my followers. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I saw you just talking to my friend there, and I wanted to come up and say I just asked how to go.
You talking to your friend?
No. Like I'm talking to you. You just debated one of my friends there, or next to her. The person you were just debating.
Oh, the person that's just on you. It's your friend. Yeah, nice guy.
Oh, all right,
He
but
seems like a logical dude. I mean, the fact that he thinks substance dualism might be true, I think that's a pretty rational conclusion. I think he's about 60% of the way to theism. Is honestly what I think. So
yeah. Well, I was gonna come up here and like talk about Spinozian theory of God, but like I don't really feel like doing that right now. I just want to see how he did because I am thinking about teaching him soon. So that's good to hear.
yeah, yeah. Are you a theist?
Oh yeah, I am personally a theist.
Yeah, get on him, man. Tell him he's like. It sounds like he's a logical dude. Usually, those kind of people will get really close to theism pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
cool,
Wait,
man.
what argument do you run for God?
I was talking about logical realism, like how like the laws of logic, necessary truths are true in all possible worlds, even in a world where there is no physical concrete objects, and
Wait,
they are.
a world with no substance cannot exist.
Well, I mean, if I'm a Christian, I believe that we are contingent, and I think that it's possible there is no contingent things at all, and it's just God that exists.
Yeah, but if a world has no substance, then there would be no argument off of contingency, because there would be nothing that would create this substance.
Yeah,
Therefore,
I don't think
know,
you let me land the plane real quick. So, like, I would say that in this world of no physical stuff, the laws of logic would still be true. Necessary truths would still be true. I think they have all the markings of conscious mental reality. So I think I'd have to be a Platonist, and I'm saying that these abstract concepts are abstract concepts, relational, semantic. Those are properties of a mind, so they're grounded in a necessary mind.
Yeah, they would. We can see that, like, of course, these would be part of the necessary mind. But like, if a materialist, or if I was a materialist, and I were to attack that, of course, materialism would be the direct refutation, and even this is similar.
But real quick, if a materialist is going to come on here and say that it's like logic is contingent or arbitrary, or logic is
no,
essentially
they wouldn't
only
argue that
true.
it's arbitrary. You can affirm materialism. You can affirm a materialism and still affirm logical, I guess, logical axiomatic claims. Yes.
I have yet to meet one. A materialist that thinks like the laws of logic have any ontological status.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, those are usually Platonists.
Well, we can uphold like a form of Neoplatonism, which is a monist point of view. So this would be a materialism point of view, and it would still uphold like laws of logic. I'm guessing you're referencing classical logic here.
Yeah.
So I could, for example, I could be like a Neoplatonist and still affirm laws of logic in the sense of classical logic of law of identity, a non-contradiction, and then excluded middle, because I can still explicate it like something to be like material. For example, through semantical values, I can uphold some form of like model theory, and so this would still be logically coherent, right? And this would be an externalist view. Therefore, like a materialist can affirm forms of law of logic. I wouldn't.
You just broke up. You just broke up for a second. Hey, do you care if I let the next guy up?
No, I don't.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to cut you off. He was next in line, and I just kind of cut him off to get you up here.
It's all good.
But I do want to hear what you have to say. So DM me or something. I'd like to continue the conversation.
All right, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
you're talking.
I'm not. Oh, didn't mean to cut you off there. I'm not super Phil Broy. I'm just more of an armchair philosopher. This is how I think about things. What's up, Shizzy? I'm sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. I
I'm
was
still
enjoying.
learning my TikToky. What's how old are you, man?
I'm 18.
Nice. I'm sure you disagree with the prompt.
No, I don't. But I just have a question. Are you Orthodox or like Catholic or like?
I mean, I'll be real with you. I'm a Protestant. I don't. I can't get into Catholic. Well,
Okay.
I really don't care. I'm more of like a mere Christianity, C.S. Lewis kind of guy. Like, does God exist? Is Christ God? Did he rise from the dead? That's like the main. If I can get you to that point, if I can get you to think that's reasonable, I'll have done what I think God's called me to do. So,
Yeah. So I just have a question. Like, do you hold to the hypostatic union?
yeah.
Okay. So I just had a question about that because would you say it's you agree to define nature as what something is?
I think so. I mean, I think that's a good summation of it.
Yeah. So how would I would think that the divine nature is kind of contradictory towards the human nature. So how do you like resolve that
Square
issue?
the two. Yeah, I think it's a tough topic because I mean, I'll be honest with you. That's a tough one for me to square. I became a Christian because I just think the historical evidence that Jesus rose from the dead is pretty strong.
Hmm.
Um, and then I think that he was worshipped. He is divine. The earliest people thought he was divine. So I just have to philosophically wrap my mind around as how can someone be divine yet also add on some type of human nature to his divinity. The question, I mean, I guess the only way I would think about it is I know in modal logic, I am not a modal logician. I don't fully understand it, but I know that you can have necessary truth and have accidental properties added onto it, and not all the essential properties of the necessary truth don't go away. So, like, that's how I kind of wrap my mind around it is like Jesus is divine. He has the essential
Hmm.
properties, and just the accidental properties of human nature get applied to it. So I think that would be like it'd be more of a Cambridge change that like it's not so much as Jesus's divinity is changing. It's more so something that is being added to it. And I think that's kind of what Paul alludes to. And he's saying, he humbled himself to become human, kind of the idea.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's
I don't
kind
know
of
if that
where
answers.
yeah, I was kind of leaning towards that too, but then I started to have the problem of like, how are these natures not mixing since it's describing what it is instead of like it just being like an addition because it's a literal description of what something is, not just like like me getting a haircut or something. Like it's not like some type of addition, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like I think of it as like this is a tough topic because it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but it's like I think of it as like I believe I have a soul. I think Jesus has a soul. We're the same substance. We're made in God's image. His soul has all the properties of divinity, eternality, all those different things. My soul is contingent. It began to exist. I think Jesus' soul obviously eternally existed, and then he added the accidental properties of human nature to it, and that experienced what it's like to be a human. And so I think like in a way that like how my soul is like diminished by my brain capabilities, like I mean, when I was one, I wasn't able to have these types of discussions or knowledge because it like my brain just wasn't evolved enough or developed enough. And so I think maybe that's the way I try to like wrap my mind around the two is like Jesus really did grow in knowledge and wisdom, but yet his soul was also eternal. And so
Mm.
I'm sure that's like probably heretical in some circles, but that's just kind of how my brain wraps it around.
Yeah, so you're kind of saying like he almost like veiled his divine
Yeah.
nature, like yeah, okay,
And
yeah,
that's
I
kind of what
understand.
Paul says in Philippians 2, the creed in Philippians 2 is pretty much like that. Like he was divine like he was on equal par with God, but did not like consider his thing to be exploited, and then humbled himself, took on the form of humanity, and then it's a chiasm, and then he dies, and then is exalted. He uses Isaiah language to say he's back to being like the exalted figure of God again. So that's just kind of how my mind wraps around it.
Yeah. I I was like thinking you were like Catholic or Orthodox because that is definitely heretical to them. So like I was expecting you to not go that
Yeah,
route.
I'm
But
more of
if
a
you
like a
do,
social Trinitarian. I don't think they like that idea, but
yeah.
I know like Swinburne. I think William Lane Craig, a couple of them, and that's just to me like what makes the most sense. And I just hope that like I think God is a just God. I don't think He's gonna get mad at me if I'm just trying my best to understand what's going on. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even like Catholic.
get mad at me if I'm just trying my best to understand what's going on. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even like Catholic like salvation through ignorance. So like I'm pretty sure even if you were wrong, you would be fine.
yeah, that's kind of my thinking. I mean, if I get up to heaven and God's like, "Hey, you got this wrong," I'm not a social Trinitarian. I'll be like, "Oh shoot!" Like, I still love you. I still want to be with you. So, I think that's kind of where we're at on that one. So,
Yeah, well, you answered my question. Thank you.
man, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming up, Shizzy. Hey, give me a follow,
Yeah,
man.
of
I'm trying to
course.
get some more followers.
I already am.
Cool,
I
Bob.
got you,
Oh,
man.
you rock. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Guided Muslim.
Hey, how's it going, host?
What's up, man? How you doing? I'm sure you're a Muslim.
Yeah.
I'm quick,
Say your
man.
name. What's going on? So you say,
What's up, man?
so you say, you say Christianity is logical, basically.
I think I'm going to preface what my claim I'm making. I think God exists is a rational position. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the evidence strongly points to Jesus rising from the dead.
Okay. I just want to ask something. So, like, what's your basic belief on Christianity? Like, what do you think the Father and Son and the Holy Spirit are, and like, when like your whole
I mean, I'm going to
being?
just go with what the earliest followers of Jesus did. Like they were monotheistic Jews. Second Temple Jewish, culture was very monotheistic. And these people that knew Jesus quite intimately added Jesus to the Godhead pretty quickly. And so, I think they worshiped him. Clearly, they worshiped him after he was resurrected. And I think quickly you see them adopt the titles, attributes that Yahweh had to Jesus.
Okay. So, okay. I want to ask. So you would say that Jesus is God, correct?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like that's what they truly thought.
Okay. So can you name the attributes of God, like his attributes?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I'm going to say that Jesus in his divine nature is God, so he would be all the omnis. So I think
I'm asking about the Father. What's the Father's attributes?
all the omnis,
Huh?
like omnibenevolent, like all good, all powerful, all logical. Essentially, he grounds
Yeah.
all logic on all goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So did Jesus know the hour?
No, I mean, actually, I've heard Christians debate this. I don't really know how I would. This is one of those tough questions where I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard Christians defend that he does know the hour. I don't really know. I know that I'm sure you heard me the last guest, where I do think Jesus, in a real way, humbled himself to become a man, and so I think there is an aspect to him not having full knowledge all the time in his human flesh, in his human nature.
Yeah. Okay. Then he's not God.
Yeah, I think you missed the other discussion too. So like, I think his essential properties did not diminish at all when he was in his human nature.
Yeah, I can see that you're very honest, honestly, and yeah. So so make it make sense, right? If you apply this title for him that he's God, right? It wouldn't make sense.
divine. Yeah. I mean, like, I get you say that. I'm just saying that the historical evidence, I think, strongly indicates that these early Jews added Jesus very quickly to the Godhead, worshipped him. I don't think that's even a debate. And so I'd ask you, why do you think these devout Jews did that? What event do you think happened that would make them do this?
I don't think they really worshipped him. I mean, I don't know where you're getting that from. Or where'd you get that from?
I mean, what did the wise men do when they came to see Jesus?
So did they I'm asking you, where does it say that like they got worshipped?
But they did things to Jesus that I'm sure no prophet got received. Jesus, like, what does Thomas say when he sees the wound of Jesus? He essentially worships him. What does Stephen do when he's being martyred? He prays to Jesus when he's sitting in the right hand of God. Like that, like Jesus says, "I am the Son of Man," echoing Daniel 7. He forgives sins. He
What does it mean to
controls
be
the
the Son of
weather.
Man?
In that time period, the Messiah was the Son of Man.
Okay, so was Ezekiel?
And then if you look
the
at
Messiah?
Daniel 7, it's clearly he's rolling on the clouds. This seems to be someone that's worshipped in Daniel 7. So I think if you apply it, he was saying that I am the Son of Man. I am the second power in heaven.
So is Ezekiel God in that necessary sense?
No, I don't think Ezekiel is God.
Because he says that.
Yeah, okay, I get you. I'm just saying. I'm coming. This is why I try to be careful with what I said.
Yeah.
I am coming at this with a historical lens. That do you deny that these early Christians worship Jesus?
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think about the creed in Philippians 2? The one that I was just talking about.
Let's see.
It's 2:6-8.
2 to 6 3. What?
I believe it's 2:6-11. So he's the form of God. So morphe. Morphe means it's essentially defining the same nature. Equal with God, not a thing to be grasped.
Okay.
Christ already possessed equality with God.
Hold on, let me find this really quick. We're being every nature of God and equality. Okay. The history part I can't really do, but if you rise oneness up, he would gladly explain the history behind it.
Okay, well, I'm asking. I mean, I get you don't know.
I'm
that's
not very
fine.
good with the history.
I'm just saying he echoes Isaiah, I think 45, where he says the name above all names. Oops, sorry.
There you go.
My TikTok's being silly. All right. Oh my gosh.
Rise up oneness. He's a very he can tell you a lot of things.
Okay, that's fine. I don't see him in the queue, but you also have Paul in 1 Corinthians. Are you familiar with the Shema?
The Shema, I think so.
It's like there is one God, our Lord is one. In 1 Corinthians 8:6, he splits the Shema. Says there's one God, the Father, and one Lord, Jesus Christ.
So then that's two gods?
So he says there's one God. So the Shema. Whatever. You can disagree with it. I don't care. I'm just telling you, Paul. Yeah, I'm just saying Paul elsewhere says there's one God. But then in the Shema, he splits it and says, hey, you know what? Jesus is also God. So I get you don't like the philosophy of it. I don't really care. My only point is that I think it's pretty obvious these Christians thought Jesus was on par with Yahweh. And you're not a Christian, so I don't expect you to believe Jesus is God. My only point is that historically speaking, I don't think this is like some type of big hill I'm dying on. Like, it seems kind of obvious.
I understand that. But when you say that they say the Father is God, and then not understanding that Jesus is God. You split them. So therefore, that you didn't make it. I mean, that means your religion is not monotheistic.
Yeah, I don't care what you think. I'm just saying that is it a fact? Do you think it's a fact that these Christians worship God or worship
No,
Jesus as if he was God?
no. I believe that
Okay,
Jesus came down.
you just said that they thought there's two gods. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
obviously
No,
them thinking
I'm saying,
in your worldview that Jesus is the same as God. There's two of them
I'm
now.
saying that, right? I'm saying that you're saying that there is two gods.
I'm literally quoting to you 1 Corinthians 8:6, the Shema.
Okay, so do you agree with me that it says two gods or no?
It does not. It says there's one God, the Father, and one Lord Jesus Christ. He's splitting the Shema. He's adding Jesus Christ into the Shema.
Here, rise up, oneness.
Are you done debating me then?
Yeah, sure, I guess.
All right. Well, that was fun.
Yep, good.
Yeah.
What up, oneness?
Yeah, so you were mentioning something about the early Christians in 1 Corinthians 8:6. What were you saying exactly? So I can just track what was going on.
But yeah, so my claim is that these early Jews were very monotheistic, and I think the evidence is that they adopted Jesus into the Godhead quite early, and kept their monotheism. They just modified it to include Jesus into the Godhead.
Where are you
And I think
getting
Philippians
the idea?
2.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
I just have a question. Where are you getting the idea that the early Jews inserted Jesus into the Godhead? How do you get that understanding?
Are you familiar with Larry Hurtado?
Who?
Larry Hurtado. He's a historian.
Okay, but what does he say?
I'm going to pull up his quote and find it.
Yeah, sure. And like,
It
I want to know
it
what
is
his
now
concluding
the
that
dominant
offers, you know?
here. I think this will sum it up. It is now the dominant
Sure.
view of New Testament scholars that Philippians. This is specifically about Philippians. Philippians 2,
Yeah.
6 through 11 preserves an early Christian hymn whose original provenance was in setting of corporate worship. So Philippians 2 was a worship song essentially to Jesus Christ as if he was God. So I mean, you have to admit in monotheism, if they're going to worship, they're going to worship God, right?
Okay, so you said first there was a historical claim, and then you bring up I forgot his name. So you're
Larry
thinking that
Hurtado.
it's a
He's a
dominant.
historian, and he's saying
You're bringing up the
among New
dominant
Testament
view.
scholars
Yeah.
that this is a dominant view that these Christian. I mean, obviously, if Paul's writing in the 50s, 60s to the Philippian church, probably late 50s. This creed goes back early, probably in the 40s, maybe the late 30s. And you have to admit, there's high Christology in this creed. He's equating Jesus with Yahweh. He's talking about Isaiah language only to Yahweh.
We can get to that in a minute, but you said that just a dominant view amongst Christian scholars, right?
No, New Testament scholars.
Yeah, New Testament scholars. Now,
They're not all Christian. They're not all Christian.
I understand. Let me speak. It being a dominant view wouldn't necessitate it's the correct view. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Amazing. So
you just asked me. You just asked me where I get this from, and I'm just saying.
I understand.
This is why I'm making a historical claim. That I'm saying these. the Didache. I mean, like, there's plenty of evidence that they clearly worship Jesus. I mean, I know you don't like Paul.
I understand.
The way he had to say.
I understand what you're saying. Here's what I'm saying. Right. I think like if you're trying to be accurate historically, you can't use the Nicene Creed to interpret the scripture because Nicene Creed came in the 3rd century. Okay.
Sure. This
now,
is.
Are you aware?
I'm talking about the creed in First in
Just
Philippians.
Wait. Let me land. Let me finish.
All right, good.
Let me finish. Are you aware that there was a development of theology? There was one-step logos theory, two-step logos theory, right?
I'm not familiar with the first and the second step.
Oh, you aren't aware of that? Okay, that's fine. So among the early Christians, you had different beliefs. You had subordinationism, adoptionism, and then you had one-step logos theology and two-step logos theology. Okay, and then in the 3rd century, you had the Nicene Creed fully developed. Okay, now two-step logos theology is the idea that there's one Most High God, and there's a lower God, which will be the Son, and that lower God is an instrument in which God does creation. Okay, I can give you examples of this through Theophilus and earlier church fathers in the 2nd century. Okay.
Theophilus.
Now, if you notice Paul's reading, okay, it's very similar to how Justin Martyr speaks. So you heard of Justin Martyr, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So he's reading in 1 Corinthians 8:6. Yet for us there is but one God, the Father. And he's attributing one God to the Father. You see that, right?
Mhm.
Then he says, from whom all things came down, for whom we live, and yet but there is one Lord, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Right? Now, if you understand this historically, there's a distinction between God and Lord. We would consider Paul historically to be a two-step logos theorist. Okay? He wouldn't be a Trinitarian. So if you're saying that he's teaching that the idea is just two gods, not holistically, because he's saying that there's a lower God and a higher God. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why there's that. Because also, if you read the Bible, you see that Satan is called the Lord of this world, not the God of this world, but the Lord of this world.
Sure.
So
Lord is
the
the Greek didn't have a ton of semantic range, so these are a lot of semantic range. So you have to use it in context.
It did. It had ton, theon, and theos. They're two different words. Actually, it did have a
What
semantic
is
range.
what is the Septuagint of the Shema?
Well, what about it?
It uses the same words, theos and kyrios. So he clearly the Shema was to Yahweh, right?
Shema. Okay, the Shema is in Hebrew.
I know the Septuagint is the Greek translation of the Hebrew. So I'm saying, who was the Shema pointed to? Who is it about?
Yeah, but the Septuagint has
Yahweh,
elements of
right?
redactions and scholarship.
I don't care. I'm just saying, who
mean
was
you
the
don't
Shema? I'm just asking you a question. Who is the Shema pointed to? Who is it about?
It's appointed to the Father alone.
Okay. Now, when Paul uses it and includes Jesus, what do you think Paul's trying to say?
Paul is starting his new theology that's different from everybody else. That's fine. We understand that through history.
So if Yahweh is to be worshipped and he is including Jesus into this category, then what am I saying that's wrong?
Let me give you an example, right? I'll show you where the corruption of text is. Can you pull up Nehemiah 9:6?
I really don't know if I want to go down this road. I want to just
It's
hammer
just
this one point real quick. I want to hammer this one
Sure,
point.
go ahead.
My claim is that these early Jews who became Christians adopted
Yeah.
Jesus into the Godhead. I don't see how you can get around this. He literally, the Shema, like Paul was the Jew of Jews,
Yeah.
right? This would have
No, I
been
don't
blasphemous. You don't think he was a Jew? Like,
No, I don't. I think that the apostles were fighting amongst each other between Paul and the original 12. That's what we see.
so
in
when
Acts
Paul
15 and
says
the rest of the letters.
that I talked to Peter and James and they added nothing to me, we were on the same
That's what
exact
Paul
accord.
says. We have to look. That's what Paul says.
Peter
We have
seems to
look
know
at all
Paul.
these-
Peter seems to
on.
know Paul.
We need to look at the whole historical data. Okay.
Yes.
Now here's
So
what
when Peter talks about him, when Acts talks
let me
about him knowing
finish.
each other,
Hey,
Paul
let me
talks about
finish.
him knowing each other. Like
No,
almost
no.
every this
Here's
is a
the issue.
historical oneness. Real
Hey,
quick,
listen.
I am making oneness. I'm making a historical claim. Almost
No, you're
every
not.
single I am. Almost
You're
every
not.
historian. I literally am. I'm saying Paul knew
Nope.
Peter and talked to them.
Nope. He
Is
didn't.
that not a historical claim?
No.
It's not a historical claim. So when I
No,
say
because
2,000 years ago Paul
I'm
met
gonna
Peter,
answer.
you're saying
You're
it's
not.
not a historical claim.
You're just listen. You're making a theological claim from the Bible.
It's not a theological
Hey,
claim.
let
I'm
me
saying,
finish.
is this
Let
an
me finish
event
my
in
sentence.
history that happened?
Hey.
And that is a
So
historical
let me
claim.
finish, man. I'm
You're
hearing
just-
you. I want you to hear me out too.
You're-
I have
you're-
heard you.
yeah.
I understand. Let me finish.
You're
my
saying
statement,
this
you
is not a
finish mine.
historical claim.
Yeah, but you don't know why I'm saying that. Let me land. I'm saying this because you're using the Bible as your reasoning. That's circular. Okay.
No,
Now-
no,
Wait,
no,
let me
no,
finish.
no,
Let me finish. I'll prove it to you.
no.
I'm gonna prove it to you.
So I can
I
believe
can prove it
Jesus
to you.
rose from the dead, or I can believe Jesus was executed and use the Bible as a source. Is that fair?
No, it's not fair.
I cannot
It's
do
circular.
that. So I
You
cannot do that. So why can
You
I?
have to
Why can
demonstrate-
Why can I know that Julius Caesar was assassinated and use pagan works that talk about Caesar being God
Because
and
we
divine?
need to act-
But I
listen.
can't do that with the Gospels.
Hey man, am I allowed to speak? You're just like constantly speaking over me.
You're just saying stuff out of your ass. Like,
I haven't said
you
anything.
can't.
I haven't
You
said-
can't
I
use
haven't
the
been able to get a word
Bible.
out.
You can't use the Bible
All right,
to
look,
talk
here.
about historical events.
I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to speak, and then I will.
No, this is
respond
my
after. Go
channel.
ahead.
This is my channel. Oneness. I'll do whatever the hell I want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I am saying
Oh,
you
okay.
you just said that I cannot use the Bible to
No,
make
you
any
can't.
historical claim at all. Zero.
Incorrect.
None. Why do you think
Correct.
most historians think Jesus was executed?
They use
Almost
the
every
historical-
historian.
Wow, I can't even get a word out. Crazy. When can I speak? Let me know.
You go ahead.
Okay, cool. They use the historical critical method. Do you know what that is?
Why do you think most historians think Jesus was executed?
I just told you the answer. What was
Do you think that they think some of the stuff in the Gospels are reliable?
Am I speaking to a robot? I said they use the historical critical method. Do you know what that is?
Do you think they use the Bible to affirm some historical facts?
They take the claims from the Bible and then they use history to prove it. It's called the
Okay.
historical critical method.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Now,
we
when it
can
comes-
use the
now
Bible
when it comes-
to give us some historical facts, right?
No, not fully. You can't. You want me to
Okay.
tell you why?
You tell me why we can just use it for some things,
cool.
but not other things, and some things yes, but not other things yes.
All right, I'm gonna pull up a source for you to read. I'm gonna pull it up, and I'm gonna share my camera. All right, hold up, so you know that I'm not lying and making things up. Okay, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up for you. Do you know who Theophilus of Antioch is?
I know.
He's a
I know
second century
Theophilus-
church father. He predates. Okay, he's a second century church father. He predates the Codex Sinaiticus. Okay,
Okay.
and now I'm gonna show you origin.
Okay, hey, real quick. Does this have anything to do with anything I've said before? Because I don't care about second century.
Yeah, it does. Give me a big screen.
I'm not. Does this have anything to do with what we're
Give me a
talking
big
about? Does this have anything to do with what we're talking
directly.
about?
Directly.
So
it
when
does.
I made the claim that the Bible says Jesus was executed, and you're saying I can't
Yeah.
use the Bible, this has something to
Yeah,
do with
I'm
that.
showing you why. Just give me a big screen. I'm giving you the proof right now. It's right in front of you.
Before.
All right, cool. What does this say right here and then the highlighted text?
Why the Greeks did not mention our histories?
What language is the Bible in?
Greek, Koine Greek.
Interesting. Okay. So basically, all right, I've given you the proof. This is Theophilus. It's called To Autolycus, book 3 in this last chapter. Okay.
Cool.
Now, what he's talking about is that the people who were Greek-speaking language, they became Christian much later in history compared to the Hebrew Aramaic, because the land of Israel was a Hebraic-speaking people. They weren't Hellenistic yet.
They
Hellenistic
spoke
areas would have been
Greek,
like-
dude. Are you kidding? They also spoke Greek.
No, they didn't.
All right,
I
let me
can
just.
give you another
All right,
source.
so you use a source. Let's
I'll
just
give you
look it
another
up.
source, no problem.
Did Judea speak Greek?
No, I'm gonna give you peer-reviewed studies.
In
I'm gonna give you
Jesus'
peer-reviewed
time.
studies. Hold on.
Give
Watch
me
this.
sources. Watch
I'm giving you
this.
sources right now.
Watch this. Yes, Greek was spoken in Judea in the time of Jesus. Aramaic was the dominant spoken language, while Greek was widely used
Aramaic.
alongside it. While Greek was used alongside it.
Yeah.
The strongest evidence comes from inscriptions, coins, papyri, and literary sources.
Yeah. That's not the full picture though. Here's another source.
It's
for
not
you.
the full
I'm gonna show
picture.
my
Do
camera.
you think Chat GPT is like is like a Christian like
Yeah,
programmer going on?
Chat GPT.
Okay, so you don't trust. All right, let's try another one. Where do you want me to go? Tell me where do you want me to Google?
Give me a big screen. I'm going to show you right now. I have it highlighted again.
I'll ask another. I'll ask Google. Was Greek
No,
spoken in
I'm
Judea?
showing you a peer-reviewed book.
Spoken in Judea.
Bro, look. Guys,
In
look,
Jesus'
this is
time.
a peer-reviewed study. Look, read it.
I
It says
encourage
right here what the
everybody
language is
who the
spoken, right?
15 people. Yes, Koine Greek was spoken in the first century Judea. All right, so I
Host,
use
can
Google.
you
I use
engage?
chat. Let's try a different one. Let's
So,
do a different
why
one.
are you cherry? I'm giving you
Did
evidence in front of you.
Judea
What are you
speak
doing?
Greek
Yo.
in Jesus' time? Why do we think it's true? Do you think it?
Bro, even your chat is telling you you're being unfair. Just look, I'm giving you a source.
Yes, Greek
I'm
was
giving you a
spoken in
source.
Judea during Jesus' time. Administrative and
Bro, what are you
cultural
doing?
legacy. Alexander the Great conquest brought Judea into the Greek Empire over 300 years before Jesus. The Hebrew Bible was translated into the Septuagint centuries earlier, used
man.
widely in synagogues by the Greek-speaking Jews. However, the key nuance is who spoke Greek and how fluently. Jesus and Peter. Scholars agree Jesus' everyday language is Aramaic, and he likely knew Hebrew. Greek was probably a third language for him.
Can you give me a big screen now?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Your one source. Just tell me where it is. Who's your source?
Yeah, this is called Jesus' Last Week. It's a peer-reviewed study in academia. The publisher is Brill, and it's also peer-reviewed. It says that the Greek-speaking population in the land of Israel was rather small and limited to government officials. Okay? And this was only happening in the Hellenistic lands, where Jesus preached was widespread, and it was Hebrew writings, not Greek. Okay?
Cool.
So it was only limited to government
So
officials.
do you think that Google, ChatGPT, Claude, all these people, when I ask them what does most scholars think that who was Greek spoken in Judea? So Google is taken over by Christians. Okay, go ahead.
I never said that. You're assuming that. Google is correct in a general sense. Okay? I'm giving you a specific sense. I'm elaborating on what Google is saying. Okay? Now, the elaboration of what I'm telling you is Greek was limited to Greek officials and government. It was not widespread among citizens. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I'm not denying that Greek was spoken. I'm telling you it is limited. So it's highly unlikely that the first Bible was in Greek. Even church fathers corroborate this. We can go to Origen. The original Gospel of Matthew was in Hebrew and Aramaic. Papias preserves this tradition, which is preserved by Eusebius. I
know what Papias says.
Oh, what is Papias?
Yeah, he also says Mark interpreted Peter. Do you believe that?
How does he get that information?
Do you believe that Mark interpreted Peter?
Listen to what I'm telling you. Where does he get the information
Do you think Mark interpreted Peter?
No, I don't think that.
Okay, where does he say it was interpreted in? It was in Rome.
I think that the Gospels are
every
anonymous.
single scholar. I know you believe that. That's stupid. It's obviously anonymous.
Actually,
it's obviously
the fact
internally
that you bring up
anonymous.
Papias. Did you know? Doesn't Papias say in his works that he rejects manuscripts and he has to hear from random church elders?
The elders. He wanted to read it from the eyewitnesses
themselves.
Oh,
so he has a faulty HCM. Interesting.
So what does Papias say? Who does he say wrote the books?
Papias gets his understanding from random church elders. He rejects. He rejects manuscripts.
Who wrote Mark?
We don't know. It's anonymous.
Okay, who does he say wrote Mark?
He believes it to be Mark. The tradition.
He believes it to be. Who does he interpreting? Who does Mark interpreting?
He believes it through the random elders he talks to without manuscript evidence.
Who? Oh my God! Who does he think? Peter. It's Peter, right? You're the genius here. It's Peter. Is there evidence that Peter is the one of the main disciples in Mark?
That's the claim. Yeah.
And what do you know what an inclusio is?
Sure. What about it?
Do you know what it
is?
What
about the inclusio? What about the inclusio?
Who's the first disciple mentioned in Mark?
I would have been Peter.
Who was the last disciple mentioned in Mark?
Last one, I don't quite remember. You refresh my memory.
It's Peter.
Okay.
Who does almost every big story revolve around?
So we're using internal. We're using internal circular arguments.
This is called internal critique. You're looking at according to logic. So according to how things were done in that time period.
You're being circular.
So if the attributions are multiply independently attested that Mark is interpreting Peter, you would grant that, right?
No, I don't grant that.
You don't think that people thought Mark wrote it interpreting Peter?
No, I think this is made up. Yeah.
Okay, I don't give a flying F if you think it was made up. Are the attributions saying this, that Mark is interpreting Peter?
That's 3 centuries later. The titles were attributed in the second century.
Oneness. I'm going to try one more time. Are the attributions
You're getting frustrated.
that are later, I am getting frustrated. It's like talking to a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Are the attributions later, did they mention that Mark is interpreting Peter?
Yeah, that came 2 centuries
Okay,
later.
cool. All right. So now we have the attributions. Does it mean it's true? No. We have to check
Correct.
and
It's
see
not true.
does the internal evidence suggest that Peter may have influenced the text? And if it
No.
is, we would expect to see some of this evidence.
Mm.
There's clearly in Aramaic, which you just admitted, Aramaic would have been what Peter would have spoke. There's plenty of Aramaic. Man, your typing is crazy loud.
Sorry. Yeah, so the evidence is that Matthew copied from Mark. That's the evidence we have.
Okay,
internally.
I don't care. As actually, Luke copies more of Mark than Matthew does. But if Peter was the source
why
behind
did
Mark,
Matthew copy from Mark? Why did he do this?
if Peter is the source behind Mark, and Peter was part of the inner disciples, wouldn't you think that they would copy parts from him?
So Peter wrote Mark?
Peter, I'll try this again. Mark is interpreting who?
Who's Mark? Who's Mark? Who is he?
John Mark.
Oh yeah, who is that?
Okay, this is like getting ridiculous. I know
No,
you
it's
know
not
the answer
ridiculous.
I'm looking
This
for.
is very valid.
Who do you think the earliest attribution said who wrote this book?
Bro, you're just saying John Mark. Who is John Mark? Who is that? Explain.
He's mentioned in Acts. John Mark. He traveled with Paul. Paul
he's
got annoyed with
mentioned,
him,
who
moved
is
him
that?
off. Peter
who is that?
mentions a guy
What's
named
his-
Mark. Holy freaking
Okay.
crap!
You're telling me that there's a guy in the Middle East named Mark.
Yeah, and we have multiple independent attributions that
Crazy.
Mark. Yeah, this is crazy. This is what we do in every other anonymous text. Did you know anonymous texts were
that's
common?
like saying you went to
Hey,
China and you met a guy named Guadalupe.
Oneness. Do you know that internally anonymous works were common in that time period?
No, they were referred to the Logia, not the Gospels, by the way. Not
Did
the
you
works.
know that? Did you know that biographies and histories were sometimes just internally anonymous? It was common.
The biography and history point towards gospel corruption.
Oneness. Did you know that internally anonymous works were common in that time period?
Yes, they were common. Yeah,
Okay.
that's why.
How do we know? How do we know who wrote them? How do we know Xenophon wrote his work? Plutarch, Tacitus. How do we know they wrote it?
I'm telling you. You want to know why?
Yeah. How do we know?
Because they claimed ownership over the work. Does Mark claim ownership over Mark?
They're internally anonymous. How do we know they wrote their? Yeah, go look it up. Go look up Xenophon's Anabasis. Go look up Plutarch. They have works that is internally anonymous. How dumb my argument is this was common in that time period. With internally anonymous works existed. How do we know that Xenophon wrote his work? Well, it's attributed later. Okay, cool. So we have an attribution. Oneness. I'm trying to finish my argument. I know. I can't do this, man.
I know you.
I'll mute you so I can finish this argument. This is common in that time period. We can look back and say who attributes the work to them, and say, okay, we have at least some type of evidence that someone wrote this, named this. Is there internal evidence that supports this claim? If those two meet, you use what we call it, you rub two brain cells together and say, they probably wrote it.
Yeah. So this is how I know you've not read early Christian history. And the fact is, these church fathers you name, most of their works are apologies and letters to other people and groups.
Do they agree? Do they agree on who wrote Hebrews?
I love how you interrupt me in the middle of my sentence.
Do they agree on who wrote Hebrews?
Right, you're getting
do they agree? Do they agree on who wrote Hebrews?
Lost.
Do they agree on who wrote Hebrews?
Yeah, listen, I'm giving you the argument.
Do they agree on who wrote Hebrews?
Are you scared? Do
they agree on do they agree on who wrote Hebrews?
Yeah, put the mic closer to your mouth, boy.
Do you agree that did they agree on who wrote Hebrews?
They don't agree.
Okay. So they seem like they were passing along oral tradition that they thought was authentic. They didn't seem to care about disagreeing with each other on who wrote different documents, but they all unanimously agreed that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote their texts.
No. Actually, they don't. For example, if we study
Appius, Irenaeus, Clement, Anti-Marcionite Prologue, the Moratorian Fragment, Tertullian, they don't think that the gospel. There's no evidence of it.
As well, by the way.
Okay, what did he say about gospel authorship?
Who?
I think he affirms all four as writing their works. Tertullian.
Who? You tell me.
Tertullian.
Quote me. Quote him. Give me the quote. I'll look it up
Yeah,
right
let me
now.
find it. Let me find it.
And while you do that, I just wanted to let you know.
Tertullian
Origin
confirmed
says
all
that
four.
there's contradicting gospel
Tertullian
accounts. You know that?
confirmed all four. Does Tertullian confirm
when did Tertullian
all
exist?
four gospels
Yeah, what century was
were
Tertullian in?
written by traditional authors?
Yeah, he's not trying to.
I see you're pivoting now.
I'm not pivoting. I'm asking about
Well,
Tertullian.
you said that he didn't mention all four. Let's just see if I'm right.
I never said that. I never said
Yeah,
that,
you
by
did.
the way.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't. I said to show me the quote.
Tertullian is one of the key patristic witnesses, traditional fourfold authorship.
Yeah, where's the quote?
Okay, let's see.
I just want to warn you. I wouldn't use AI because AI invents sources, by the way.
Well, the good thing that this is something that I actually know is historical, and so I don't mind doing AI because you probably haven't researched church fathers, but I know this is a fact.
I can show you that
you never heard of this one. You never heard of this one.
I have, and I can even show you that the Didache has redactions in it as a joke.
Mark
chapter 9,
Peters,
chapter
whose
11,
interpreter is your cleanest citable sound bit. Let's see here. This is mostly quoted line from authorship purpose in the Ernest Evans translation. Tertullian says that some apostle. Just go look it up. I can't do this, man. Just go Google it. You got a computer. You got a computer. Go type in. Does Tertullian?
You have nothing. You're nervous. Look at you, bro. You have nothing. You're making stuff up. And you're saying, I don't read. You're literally making quotes up. I'm the only one who even gave you sources. I showed you sources. I made you read.
Yeah, one paper when I went to 5 different sources. All right, I know you don't like. Yes, in this 3rd century apologetic against Marcion, Tertullian explicitly confirms the 4 canonical gospels were not anonymous. They're traditional authors.
Give me the direct quote, man. Give me the quotes.
I don't know. I don't have the quotes.
Yeah, because it's made up.
Good. All right. So Google, Claude, Chat
let
are
me show you
all
something.
just making this up. Hey, real quick, before you do anything, show me your computer. Real quick, mute. All right, I won this. Go to your computer right now. Go to Google. Type in, did Tertullian affirm all 4 gospels?
Listen.
Go to your computer right now. I know you can do it. And type that question in.
Listen, I don't.
Go to your computer, type it in, and I'll give you the screen.
No, give me the quote. I want the direct.
Go to your computer and type in, did Tertullian affirm traditional authorship?
Give me the direct quote. Thank you.
You go to your computer right now. You're scared to do it. Go to your computer right now.
I'm on the computer. This is what I'll do.
Okay, I'll give you the screen. I'll give you the screen. Type in, did Tertullian? You're too scared. You won't do it.
I'm doing it right now. Relax. I'm doing it right now.
You're not gonna give me the question I'm asking. You're gonna make a different question.
Watch this. Okay. I'm on a website called New Advent.
Yep. Let's try this again. Go to your computer. You're on your computer right now. You're scared to do it. Go to Google right now, or I'll boot you. I'll boot you right now. Go to Google.
You can boot me. Show me where in Tertullian.
All right. See you later. Holy cow. I'm sorry, guys. It's insane.
Hello.
Cooked. I got cooked. What's up, Cynic? How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Awesome.
I hope you're not a Muslim. No offense to Muslims, but man, they're a tough bunch to debate. All right, cool. What's up, man?
What's up? I'm somewhat agnostic, though I'm not exactly sure. I just recently deconstructed from Christianity.
Oh, man. Oh, it's a bummer to hear, man. Well, maybe I can give you. I went from the other direction.
Maybe you can help me back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what made you think differently?
Well, I considered to myself, if God needed to create humanity, and then I considered to myself, like, the result of humanity. Like, despite the concept, like, granted or not, the concept that humans like have full responsibility because of their free will, it's like God didn't have to like make them in the first place, and then He did that, and then it turned out that the eternity of humanity would end up. Are you like an annihilationist or?
No, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't like to like say things are the way they are unless I've kind of researched them. So
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll just go I'll go from the traditional view. I think it's the most biblically backed, but I could be wrong.
it does seem to be that way. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just go from the traditionalist view. Yeah, like basically the majority of humanity, and my reason for believing the majority of humanity would be like, I mean, the only way to Jesus is, like, I mean, the only way to the Father is through Jesus, and most people aren't Christian. So yeah, and then the majority of humanity would end up in what's it called? Eternal suffering, and be that their responsibility as it may. It's like God didn't have to make it for it to be their responsibility in the first place, but He did.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that God is just by giving people what they want? So, like, I'll
I would say
preface my question. So, like, C.S. Lewis said that hell is locked from the inside, and I think he's right.
I've read that.
Yeah, I think he's right. I think that like God makes people with essentially free agents or free will.
Well,
they can make their decisions. And I feel like
I would say, is he just in doing what they will or what they want? I would say that's kind of determined on what they want. If like what they want is like very destructive towards them, then I don't think, like, if he is loving and powerful, like, I don't think imposing on their will would actually be a negative if it saved them from so much.
But like you're saying like God would get inside their brain and make them believe in Him.
Literally anything to avoid infinite suffering. Yeah, I mean, if it's just the result is infinite suffering or infinite enjoyment, then yeah. Like I would.
So it sounds like you'd want a world full of robots.
As long as those robots end up not in hell, yeah, I definitely prefer that.
I got you. So essentially, the problem of hell.
Yes, but that was just from me telling you like why I switched. But I could give you like a decent, like, more standard question.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The problem of hell. I mean, I just go ahead.
Okay. I think I get what you mean. Would you say that God could have made do you think this is the best possible, like the most possible enjoyment and least possible suffering world that God could have theoretically made?
I doubt it.
Okay. So would that not just mean that He's not all loving because He's not including all?
But what if the reason why I say I doubt it is because I can't psychoanalyze God, what He wants, but I feel like His desires would probably be like the ultimate good would be knowing Him. And so I would think that God would make a world, and not so much with suffering, because what if suffering brings out more people that know God and trust God?
If it brings out more, in the context of God actually existing and Him being the way to heaven, you're saying, what if suffering brings more people to God? Well, then that's really just enjoyment because they end up in heaven, which is like eternal enjoyment. So I mean, technically it's suffering.
You're talking about on like, I'm talking about just on Earth, I guess, in our temporal experience.
And you're
talking about totality. I'm saying, is it possible that the suffering we see here on Earth could produce more greater goods, that like the eternal good of knowing Jesus forever?
Okay, like if things that we perceive to be suffering could actually induce a greater good by bringing us closer to Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. Like I've gone through suffering a lot, and
that brought you closer to Jesus.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't understand why I'm going through it, or see my wife go through it, or other people go through it. But I'm like, I look back and I'm like, man, that is when I grew as a person. I'm sure you probably say the same thing. That's usually when alcoholics, they hit rock bottom or something, they kind of make a decision like, I got to change. And obviously, that's just my anecdotal experience, but I think that seems logically possible. Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, you would basically be claiming that suffering would be justified for God to induce suffering in the case of a greater good. I would say the issue with that is if God is like omniscient and omnipotent and all loving, then it's like if the good that we have not now is not the greatest good, then that means that God can't be literally all loving. And what we have right now, I doubt that this is the greatest good that God could do, seeing as like He literally constructed our pleasure systems from the ground up.
What if is it possible that this is the best world that
Hey,
like with
Dave the
free
Wave,
people?
the host is not getting cooked. This is a good discussion. Shut up, Dave the Wave.
Take the Wave's an idiot. You're good. What is I know Leibniz and some other philosophers think that this is the best possible world God could or would make, because the necessity God would do that. I don't know where I would stand on that, but like I think it could be possible that with free people, free creatures, there is just going to be suffering. And this is just the best way that most people will be with Christ at the end, is to have a world like this. And I think God's justified in making a world like that, where if, you, or maybe eventually you will go to heaven and be with God forever. It seems as though He's justified in doing that, allowing us to have that option.
Okay. Okay, then I have two slightly different routes that end up at the same place that I'd like to question here. What percentage of humanity, like in the past and now, would you say are genuine Christians that are going to go to heaven?
Dude, I have absolutely no idea. I really think it could be the case that more people are in heaven than we think as Christians.
Would you say
Possibly.
that it could? Would you say that it could be anywhere near like 40% going to heaven?
Sure.
Okay. Well, okay. I would like to push back on that, and my reasoning would just be, I think, the wide gate versus narrow gate before, and then also just the, what's it called? Yeah. Jesus said, blah, 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 narrow gate, and then He also said the only way to the Father is through me. So it's like, and then most people maybe even 50% of people in the world that like renounce, quote unquote, the Christian God, as opposed to just like be in a neutral position. But definitely,
I'm not getting what you're saying. If a majority of people go to hell forever,
so then like, what if human enjoyment were to justify God causing human suffering, then I would say like every human value like would probably be the same. So every human's enjoyment would be valued the same. But if the majority of people are ending up in hell, and you're saying that kind of justifies the small level of enjoyment, then it's not actually like the greater good. It would just be like the existence of some level of enjoyment.
Well, what if utilitarianism isn't true? The most good for the most people. Like, I feel like that's just kind of where you're going with this. Like, if 51% of people went to heaven, would you be okay with it? Like,
no, I wouldn't be okay with that. I wouldn't say it's worth it for. No, I wouldn't say it's worth it at all. Because I mean, infinite suffering is like for one person, infinite suffering is crazy.
I mean, but what if like it really is I don't know. I think there's a Bible verse. I can't remember, it's in Peter, where it seems like Jesus will preach to those in hell. I know some people that I really admire, like some like inspiring philosophy. Have you ever heard of them?
Wait, which names did you say? I probably did.
You're good. Inspiring philosophy.
I have not heard of inspiring philosophy. No.
You should look it up. He's got a good channel. He thinks that there's going to be post-mortem salvation. I haven't really looked into it, but I know he's a pretty smart guy. I think usually.
Universalism.
It's not really universalism. Maybe he would be a universalist. I mean,
wait, are
he
you
might
saying
say that.
Was his point that like people will be have retribution after they go to hell, and so eventually everybody will be reconciled?
And he might think that eventually all will be reconciled in the end. I'm not really too sure about that. He just thinks that there is like post-mortem salvation, a chance, I guess. I don't know how biblical that is. I mean, I'm just saying that could be an option that like, hey, if God is like, I do think that this is an interesting question, because it's like, if God is a truly just, loving God, I do think He is going to give everybody an equal chance at like, do you want to be with me or do you not? And I think that like God's not going to judge you more harshly based on what evidence you're given or how old you were or whatever. And so I think it could be the case that there is a chance post mortem. I do think that the Bible is pretty clear. There's going to be like a final judgment. So, I mean, like, if it is the case that people really truly are saying, God, I do not want to be with you, I want to be my own God, and I will just forever live in that depression that is that, I think that God's just in doing that.
Do you think
From
God
my
is
viewpoint.
just? Do you think God is just in letting them go down that path?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I kind of have to. If I believe that God is the grounding of moral goodness, I
mean-
think God is just and do whatever the heck he wants.
I see what you mean by like. I mean, you have to believe that to believe in Christianity, but it's not like technically Christianity is like a have to belief either.
Yeah, it's more of a philosophical approach. Like, I think that God is the grounding of why moral goodness exists. But also part of moral goodness is justice. And if God really does view you as having like infinite justice, like I think he really does view you and all human beings like that, and because we're created in his image. then
Like
I
we
think-
deserve
I
because
think
we've
if
done
someone harms, if someone harms you in a real way, they've committed an infinite crime, like ontologically. And so I know that's hard for us to wrap our mind around, but I think that's how God views us. I think that's why he died on a cross in such a bloody way, is to say, hey, I love you this much, and sin, the justice is this severe. And so I think God has the justice and mercy together. But yeah, this is an interesting question. To me, like, I don't really stay up at night with this one, because I just feel comfortable saying morality is grounded in God. All goodness flows from God. God is a just God. I think at the end of the day, God will do the just thing, the righteous thing.
Ooh. Is this like I've heard of like a story of like an atheist would ask a Christian like how is your God just? Like, look at what he's done to people. And then like the theist will say, oh, how do you know anything is like evil or wrong? If without God you don't have grounding for your morality. Which I agree with. I don't have any grounding for, and I don't believe that a literal like universal morality really exists at all. But I would like to.
So I would disagree with you on that, obviously. So,
Obviously, yeah. You're a Christian, yeah. So I would like to give you like a very small argument for an absence of free will that you might have not heard before.
sure, hit me.
Okay, but you also might have heard before because I don't really have a lot of experience, so I don't know what people have heard, but I just never hear it myself. But anyways,
I like new stuff. Yeah, but
okay, we'll see. All right, so basically, right, for your will to be free, you would have to have an ability to choose it, because if you didn't choose it, obviously somebody else chose it, and then it's not free. So you've had to choose your own will. What's it called? But for you to choose your own will, you would just have to exist before you existed.
okay. Does that? So I guess that doesn't really negate free will,
Well,
right?
what's it called? I mean, in the context that you are conceding that we didn't exist before we existed,
Sure.
I would say to exist before you have existed would be a logical incoherency,
you'd have to
unless
be
you are God.
God. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
The
unmoved
unmoved mover, blah blah blah. Yeah, contingency.
So I think I'm contingent. I began to exist. I did not have a choice in that. I think you're right. I did not freely choose to exist, because that would be illogical. So, like, I would just say the evidence says we do have free will. We do exist. Like, I guess that's all I'd go to.
Well, it sounded as if like you were really, really agreeing with me, and then let me remember.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't think we had any choice in us. Obviously, we had no choice in us existing.
Well, then that would mean
Because
you're free.
that'd be kind of viciously circular. We kind of exist before we exist, and I don't know how that makes any sense.
What's it called? So then you wouldn't have any choice in you existing, and something could only be free to you if you have a choice in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think now that we do exist, we do have free will.
But the will
makes sense.
Yes, but the will that we exist with, just because it exists now, doesn't mean that it's free, because it's still decided by not us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we really are the cause of an effect, and we could have done otherwise, then God is not making like someone like formed a certain way to do certain things. I think that like we really do have autonomous free will in all these decision making processes we do. I get what you're saying. I just don't know how that undercuts the idea we actually have genuine free will.
When I am saying an absence of free will, I'm not meaning that you want to do something and then you just can't do it because something else is stopping you from doing it. I'm saying you want to do something and you're always going to do that thing that you want as long as there's a conscious decision. But that thing that you want isn't free in itself. Like you wanting that isn't free, so you're not actually free. Like
you're saying, like my desires.
Wait, what I'm saying is, I just thought of something. I don't know if it's going to be valuable to this conversation, but what's it called? What I'm saying is that. Oh my god, I forgot. Hold on.
You got it, Cynic. You get there. It sounds like you're saying we can't control our desires to want something.
No. What I'm saying is that the lack of freedom doesn't happen at the step where you pick something. It happens at the step of what you want to pick. But what I'm saying, I don't mean specifically we can't control our desires. I mean the controller, oh my god, the desire that we had in the first place, like let's say like after we were born, like our first quote unquote desire, that would not be decided by us. And then that desire plus other things that aren't decided by us, those things together would make your next desire. And then your next desire would be made by your second desire. And then everything would come from this
it sounds
will
very
or desire.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're saying our everything's determined. Like our desires are just ultimately
when I say
products of the
determined
environment.
When I say determined, I wouldn't mean a conscious determined specifically. It could just be determined by a bunch of stuff that would,
antecedent physical events before it would be what determined. Like prior physical states would be what determines my future actions.
Yes. And if you believe in some kind of like spirituality or whatnot, then even those things would pre-exist you. So.
Yeah, I think that's why I can't be a materialist, because I don't think the evidence points to us behaving in that way. I think we really
What's
do
a materialist?
A materialist would say that the only thing that exists is just matter and energy, essentially.
What I was saying, I
like everything is reducible to just those things. Like, so all of your brain states, your desires are really just neurons firing in your brain.
Hold on, excuse me a second.
You're good, man. The lady wants to know. Dave the Wave, you must be bored to just comment on my channel that much. I don't think you ever even come up here, have you, before? Host hates science. I actually like science. I'm probably one of the few Christians on here that actually affirm pretty much everything scientists say about anything. So, good try.
All right, I'm back.
You're good, man.
What were you saying?
I don't even remember where we were at. Oh, yeah. I was saying your desires are essentially physical, material. But physicalism, materialism, kind of synonymous. I'm sure there's a difference. But like everything you think mentally in your subjective experience, conscious experience, is ultimately reduced down to just physical
matter and energy. Okay.
And that's what makes it to where it's just like a domino falling. It's just what you think now is really just a neuron firing a certain way from a prior neuron firing a certain way from the fire, and it just chains back to the beginning of physical matter existing. I think there's a lot of issues with that. Like, is that what you kind of are implying?
Wait, are you saying that there's? I think I blanked out for like 2 seconds and I missed a specific part. Are you saying that materialism and determinism are like similar in the way that they sound or something?
Yeah, I would say that if you really think that is the actual reality, your mental states are just physical states, and those things are like, I would say, like a rock falling down the hill isn't like. It's obviously determined to balance a certain way based off of whatever all the different forces of gravity and whatnot going on to it. Your brain would be the exact same way.
Yes, it would be the exact same way. But I would also say that would still work in a materialist, in a non-materialist mindset, because like even if you believe in spirits and souls, like as long as that soul isn't infinite and existed infinitely like God, like a non-contingent being, then no matter what kind of soul or spirit or spiritual qualities you had, as long as you don't exist before you existed, then the determinism argument would still apply.
Well, so I guess I'm saying that the idea of a soul, I believe in. I think we do have a conscious mentality that is not physical, reduced to
Are you saying
physical
that like
stuff.
enables randomness?
Not so much randomness. I think that we actually like our consciousness is the beginning of an effect. Like we are the causal chain, the beginning causal chain of an effect that could have been different. I think that big thing is it could have been different part. And
But so I interrupted you. That's my bad. Good.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think I'm just saying, like, if my brain is not physical, then all these physical antecedent or prior things really don't impact it. I mean, they do impact it. I think we are influenced by those things, but ultimately, the decision is not
they're
physical.
Only influences.
So, yeah, I would say they're influenced. Like, obviously, we're influenced by a lot of things. Our culture is a good example of it. But like, I think that just as I have a strong desire to maybe drink a lot of wine. I think I really do have the ability to not do that, and I could do that long enough. My desire for that will go away. So I think we can overcome our desires through focus and cognitive therapy and stuff like that. So like,
well, I mean, if you want to overcome your desires, then that's a desire.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that'd be you're saying it's a more higher desire that's overcoming that desire.
Yeah, it's like a preferred
I would, as this is you're kind of getting into consciousness, the hard part, or the theory of consciousness. So I would say top down. Look up top down causation. I think it's pretty interesting. It's the idea that our mental focus, our mental ability can actually change your brain chemistry. And there's plenty of science behind this, and a lot of neuroscientists are going to think of it differently. Mental ability can actually change your brain chemistry. And there's plenty of science behind this, and a lot of neuroscientists are going to think of it differently. But I would say it's good evidence that, like, if our consciousness emerges from a physical brain state, I don't understand how consciousness can have any type of downward reverse causation. It'd be like a shadow changing the tree. And so to me, that's a good evidence that we have something immaterial that can actually dictate what happens to our physical brain.
Okay, I'm also reading the top-down thingy.
Yeah, top-down causation is interesting. Look up, honestly, Inspiring Philosophy. I don't agree with everything he says, but he has a series about how we're not reducible physical evidence for the soul. It's pretty interesting. I think substance dualism makes a lot of sense. He's not a substance dualist, but he makes a lot of very good points about how physicalism doesn't explain the data. And I think there are a lot of neuroscientists or philosophers that are atheists who've come to the same conclusion. That's called the hard problem of consciousness. Like, how do you explain us having a first person perspective at all? If our brain matters as a 3-pound chunk of just physical stuff, I don't know how you have enough
first
dominoes.
Person perspective mean?
So this is how my dumb brain thinks of it. Like, have you ever played a first person pew pew game?
Yeah.
Have you played a third person pew pew game?
Yeah.
Okay, like Fortnite. So like, first person is you, like, behind your eyes, you experience the world. And so like, if someone pinches you, you have the feeling of pain, you have the feeling of love, you have thinking about things, you have intentionality. A third person aspect is you just physically examining everything and describing it. So I could describe everything about my phone. If I had infinite knowledge, I could describe where every single atom, whatever quantum state everything is in. But it would just be a physical descriptions, third person descriptions of it. Well, I could do the same thing with my brain. I can know, if I had infinite knowledge of my brain, I still wouldn't find or see a first person perspective. And that's called the hard problem, is how does this first person perspective come out of third person material? no matter how you arrange it, it seems to be a construction problem. You don't have the right materials to create this conscious experience. PRK, what's up, man?
Wait, why did we start talking about this?
I have no idea. I was talking about, I can't remember what we were even yapping about, but
I think the last thing was, okay, this guy called PRK is like going crazy.
Free will. Yeah, I'll bring him up. Cynic, I'm gonna let you talk to him or you can bounce if you want. I gotta go pee really bad. So
Okay.
PRK, you want to talk to Cynic for a second?
Yeah, bro. I'll talk to Cynic. Cynic,
What's up,
are
PRK?
you a atheist?
No, I'm not an atheist.
Are you a Christian?
No.
What are you?
I'm like kind of agnostic. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool, bro. So I'm a Christian, and basically, I don't know what Make the Case has already said to you, what you guys have been talking about, but we believe in the resurrection, right? I'm sure you know that.
Yeah. No, yeah. I just recently deconstructed, so I was pretty devout. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So maybe something to give you something to chew on, right?
Sure.
So I was an atheist and I came into Christianity. I don't know, were you raised in Christianity?
Yeah, I was raised, but I took it very like seriously. I wasn't lukewarm. I was like, yeah, it was different.
Okay. So I wasn't raised in it, and there's some things that were intuitive to me to begin with that I've really recently thought about and logically, you know, constructed this kind of view that I'm about to tell you. So Jesus, do you think he was a real person?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was crucified, right? You would agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, and after he was crucified, specifically Peter, James, and Paul claimed to have seen him risen?
Yeah, I'll grant that, yeah.
Yeah. So if Peter, Paul, and James claim to have seen Jesus risen, right? I think we have good evidence for that, by the way. And I'm more than happy. If you're not convinced by that, I'm more than happy to try to convince you. So Peter, Paul, and James are, claiming that they've seen Jesus risen. Now, keep in mind, Jesus was crucified by the Romans, right? So he was humiliated and then he was crucified. So these people, after Jesus was crucified, they would be skeptics, right? Because they wouldn't just assume that Jesus was the Messiah after he's been crucified. After you're crucified, nobody thinks you're the Messiah, right? And we're crucified, nobody thinks you're the Messiah, right? And we have other messianic claim to be Messiah and were taken out. And after that happened, nobody believed that they were the Messiah. So the disciples, after Jesus was crucified, wouldn't have believed Jesus was the Messiah. So they would need very good reason to believe Jesus was the Messiah post-crucifixion, right? That's the basic premise. And what is a very good reason to believe that Jesus was the Messiah of Israel, the risen Christ? Well, they would have to have very visceral experiences of Jesus, not just like a vague hallucination where they see a silhouette of someone or, they're just like a vague hallucination. They're not going to then conclude, oh, Jesus is the risen Christ because I saw some, shadow out of the corner of my eye, or I had some hallucination where I saw the silhouette of a person. They're not going to conclude that Jesus is the risen Christ because of that. They would need a better reason, because you need good reasons to think that Jesus is the risen Christ. So what would a good reason look like to these people who would be skeptics that Jesus was the risen Christ after the crucifixion? Well, they would probably have to have visceral experiences where Jesus is audibly speaking to them, or they're visually seeing Jesus. So are you following me so far? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you might want to hear this. Like in the context of like biblical evidence for the resurrection, like I think it's pretty cool. But even in like the best case scenario for Christianity and like biblical evidence, I wouldn't exactly be convinced from that position, as I think that there are like some logical inconsistencies with the character of God. So you'd have to talk to me about that first.
Sure, but can you at least agree that these people, probably the best inference that we can make is that they had visceral experiences of Christ after the crucifixion? Not that they actually saw him, but they had
Yeah,
visceral
no, I can grant that.
experiences. Yeah, so by visceral, I mean,
I
you
know,
know,
I know. Yeah.
yeah, okay, so if let's say Peter, James, and Paul, or like let's just say Peter and Paul, right? Let's just use those two,
Mhm.
right? It was unexpected, right? They weren't expecting, this is my view, right? Not every Christian would hold to this because of different views, but it just depends. But even Christians who think the New Testament is inerrant would, I've talked to some that would hold to this, but they were not expecting Jesus to return, especially Paul, but even Peter. Peter was not expecting to see Jesus again. Paul was definitely not expecting to see Jesus risen from the dead. Yet both of them unexpectedly have these vivid experiences with Jesus where they're either audibly hearing him or seeing him or both, right? That's what is the best inference to make from what we're seeing. Because, like I said before, if you are a person who is crucified and humiliated by the enemy, well, that's not who this Messiah was supposed to be. And if you just visualize this, they wouldn't think that Jesus, this crucified, humiliated person, is the Messiah without good reason. And that's what I was saying before. So the good reason would be that, again, they either audibly heard Jesus literally came to them and said, "Hey, I'm Jesus, I'm here," like what is kind of described in the book of Acts with Paul, or they actually saw Jesus physically, saw Jesus visually, let's just say, or they heard him, right? So let's say Paul and Peter had these unexpected, vivid experiences of Jesus, right? You said you would accept that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now the comprehensive case becomes like, how do we show this is more likely than not? And I guess the only way we can do that is using like some Bayesian framework. I don't know, Saucy, I don't know if you like care about Bayesian stuff.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. It's kind of Occam's razor applied to history.
Yeah, so like, I don't know if Cynic, if you know about Bayesian, but basically the idea is that there's prior probabilities that we start with, right? So my prior probability is that there's a God that exists that is interested in intervening in human affairs and would be interested in doing a miracle like a resurrection, right? And if that's in my prior probability, given the evidence we have, the historical evidence we have that I've just explained to you, which seems to be the best inference that we can make, given all of this, all things considered, everything I'm saying, I think it's more likely than not that Jesus rose from the dead, with those priors, right? If the prior probability is that, hey, there's a God that exists that is interested in intervening in human affairs and is interested in performing high level miracles like a resurrection, then Jesus's resurrection, given what we have, is not unlikely relative to natural explanations, but rather is very plausible, if not even more likely than not, right? So we can discuss that, I guess, if you want to talk about priors, because I assume your priors are that naturalism or physicalism is true or something like that, right?
Like naturalism, like meaning natural law, like morality.
Naturalism meaning that only the natural world exists.
Like kind of like materialism, physicalism.
Yeah.
I don't really have a specific opinion on that quite yet.
He seems pretty agnostic about it. Like,
Yeah.
A question for you, Cynic. If we like,
You're echoing.
I am, my bad.
You're good.
Do I need to like cut it off?
No, it's not that bad.
No, it's just not that.
It's
bad,
not
yeah.
like an
No.
echo. It's just like a reverb. It's not even. I don't know how to explain it.
It's fine. Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
you're in a room that's not insulated.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
it sounds.
Got it. I think I know what happened. Hopefully that's better.
Question?
If you had a bunch of evidence, enough evidence to think Christ rose from the dead, would you even like care? It sounds like it's more of like, I don't like this God, or I'm not saying you're like being juvenile about it. I'm just saying
Like an anti-theist?
or you don't like Christianity. You don't like the Christian God. So like, it would even like going down the road of like, because I think PRK is right. I think the evidence for the resurrection is extremely strong. I mean, I'd even go further than he does. I think there's a lot more evidence than just that. But like, I think it's a rational position to hold that Christ rose from the dead. If that is the case, like, would you like reconsider coming back to Christianity, or is it more of like, I don't like, morally speaking, I don't like Christianity?
You're asking me if I had what would sufficient evidence look like? To me, there would be no evidence that I would probably see sufficient for that.
I'm just saying, pretend.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, I would do my best to like be Christian again, but I don't know if I'd ever be not angry enough to, or I wouldn't know if I'd ever be capable of having love for him.
Yeah, because I don't think this is like an evidence thing.
No.
No,
I
yeah,
think it's that.
that's actually kind of true. So what I've been saying, Saucy, is like, like people want to believe in what they want to believe in, right? Like, if you want to believe in God, you can rationalize that belief. And if you want to believe in no God, you can rationalize that belief. You're free to do any of the, like, we can do those things, right? So, like,
Yeah.
I want to believe in
Confirmation
God. You want to
bias.
believe in God. Yeah. So we're going to rationalize that belief. And
Okay.
we have the resources to do so. But maybe Cynic doesn't want to believe in God, so he doesn't want to rationalize that belief.
Well, my reason for disbelieving God, I offered to talk about it, but I mean, we kind of continued to speak about the evidence for the resurrection. But what I said, to remind you, was that I don't think that the resurrection would be compelling enough to be proof of this God's existence unless I were able to find some justification or solution for God creating this reality. And then I offered to talk about it. So
Yeah, we can talk about. Wait, really
Like,
quickly.
essentially, the problem of evil, I think, was mostly the issue, like, and the problem of hell, like eternal suffering.
It's more the problem of creation. Like the creation itself was wrong. It's because of evil, but it's like slightly different than the exact problem of evil.
The creation. So you're saying that you don't expect God to create this
What's
reality?
it called? Yeah, specifically this reality. So the question goes, do you think that this is the best possible reality with the most enjoyment and least suffering that God could have created?
Yes.
Okay. So if the reality in which has the most possible enjoyment and the least possible suffering includes incredibly intense suffering for the extreme majority of humanity, then why would a God that loves his subjects and his subjects pains him actually create that in the first place?
Well,
That's the best he could do.
Well, really quickly, can I just say, so it does seem like you're touching more on the problem of evil here, and I would just say, like, when it comes to this type of thing, right, like the LPOE, it's not impossible for there to be this suffering world where there's all of that stuff that you just mentioned, where there's like suffering for the vast majority of humanity. That's terrible. I've been to third world countries, man. It's crazy, man. It's I agree with you. There is suffering for like probably the majority of humans, like very
No, I'm
intense
talking about
suffering.
hell.
Oh, you're talking about hell?
Yeah, because there's more
Well, I'm
suffering.
an annihilationist. I know Saucy's probably not, but
Okay.
yeah.
And then what would your explanation be for the what's it called? What was it? It was they will have a punishment forever and ever, and also rest neither day or night.
Are you talking about a verse?
Yeah. I only know the
so-
verse. I don't know the name of
No,
it.
no, that's fine. So I'm not an inerrantist either, right? And Saucy probably knows that
What's
too.
that?
So I just go by what makes sense to me. Like, I don't think that God would create hell.
But-
I think if you don't go to heaven, you just die. That's just kind of my view. You don't have the yeah.
And then would you say that's biblically supported?
Well, a lot of people seem to think so. Actually, I don't.
There's definitely some
necessarily-
scripture I think that could.
Yeah, it could be it very much could be. I mean, it's an ancient view. It goes back all the way to
That's
the
I
second
mean that's
century.
fine. But do you believe that? And then if so, what's your reasoning?
Well, I mean, I think that some things are more expected under annihilationism. Like, for example, John 3:16, for whosoever believes in the Son of God will not be condemned, but I forget exactly what it says, but will not perish, right? That type of language, like, oh, you will not perish, you will not die, you will, that type of language is used a lot. Like, you won't die, you won't perish.
That perish in the language it was written. I forgot if it was Aramaic or what's it called? Or Hebrew. Or yeah, Greek.
It's Greek, yeah.
It was called, that perish had like 3 definitions, and one of them was like, what's it called? Like when you get punished for your crimes. It's like when you finally when it finally gets to you, kind of thing.
Well,
like
I
not a-
just
not a
I know
permanent
I
thing.
know. I mean, privately, I can send you a lot of verses that it just says that if you don't go to heaven, you kind of like cease to exist. I mean, there's probably a few there, but
Yeah, the destroy. Yeah, the destroy is what's commonly used. But then I would
destruction and
Destruction, yeah.
Destruction. But also, what's it called? You can destroy something and it continue to exist. But in the context of the verse that I was using, what's it called? You can't not exist, but also not rest day and night, because not existing would definitionally be resting.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, annihilationism makes sense to me because I don't think God would create hell. And I'm not an
That's the issue.
inerrantist. I'm not an inerrantist, so I don't think that everything in the Bible is necessarily true, right? We'd have to do a deeper analysis to figure out what is likely true, what is likely not. what
Yeah, I mean,
comes
the
from
context
Jesus.
matters, of course.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider here.
The context
So-
of my verse, though, was Jesus teaching people. So, I mean, I don't think he'd lie to them.
Yeah. But I did have a question for you. Things like precede physical things
Proceed in what manner?
that come before, just like non-physical things just come before physical things,
Like
in the
in-
sense of our reality, right? Do you think that physical things have always existed?
You meant like timeline.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't make any sense.
Right. That's exactly the thing, right? Me and Saucy probably agree that physical things haven't always existed.
Well, I mean, you were saying, I might agree with that, but just to specify, you were asking me if I believe that in the context of both physical and non-physical things existing, would it make sense that physical came first? All I was saying there was that I think that if both of them existed, then physical definitely wouldn't come first. But then I might also
Yes.
I might also not believe in non-physical things besides concepts.
Sure, but do you think it's possible that non-physical things exist?
Yeah, I really don't exactly have even much of an opinion on that matter in the first place.
Yeah, it's hard to show that it's impossible that non-physical things exist. I mean, it's impossible, honestly. But so non-physical things, come before physical things. That's something that we can probably agree with. Makes a lot of sense. We could just go with what we believe makes sense here. So yeah, intuition. I mean, non-physical things. If that's true, and non-physical things actually come before the physical reality, then I mean, do you think that for example, natural processes could be non-physical? I know you're not a naturalist. I'm just asking you.
What does that? What do you mean by natural processes?
Or let's just say physical processes.
Can you give me an example of one?
Yeah, like the laws of physics.
So then would you are you saying like the laws of math would also be processes? I'm kind of confused
Not
as to what you mean by
necessarily.
that.
Like physical phenomenon, like emergence, like evolution.
Like a tree growing, that's a physical process. Like
Yeah.
a planet forming, an orbit happening. Those are all physical processes.
Would a mental process like occurring in your physical mind be counted as a physical process in this situation or no?
Yes.
Okay, just in case.
So just like yeah. So what I'm asking you is that if you think that non-physical things come first, right? Then can natural processes be non-physical?
Cool. If I'm granting that physical properties don't come first, then can natural properties? Okay, what are natural properties? Sorry.
Or physical properties. Sorry, I keep on saying natural. Physical, because I can't define natural right now. So physical. I'll just say that. Do you think physical
processes or properties?
Processes.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Do you think that they can be non-physical? Like, do you think there's non-physical, physical?
Well, I'm not.
What am I saying?
I think they can.
Natural. Yeah, we'll use natural. Non-physical.
I think they can, but I don't really have much of an opinion on it quite yet. Just because I don't really have an opinion on if non-physical things like exist. I'm not sure if I understand your question perfectly.
No, I'm not phrasing it well. So non-physical. Are there non-physical natural processes? That's all I'm asking.
I thought you said they're not using the word natural.
No, I'm going back to it because I
Okay.
realized that what I'm saying.
And then what is it? What do you mean by that?
See, this is the thing. I don't have a good definition of natural. Like, Saucy, do you have a good definition of natural?
Yeah, anything that's reducible to physical stuff. That's how I would describe it. Like just physical, material, energy, things like that.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, natural processes like I don't know. Like
do physical / natural properties do what? What was the question?
Yeah, like so non-physical things like okay, let's just move it to here because I don't think I'm articulating this well. It's late. Non-physical things that
I probably have to wrap it up soon. Go ahead. If you finish the question, but
yeah. So non-physical things that cause things. Let's just say this. There's a non-physical entity that causes an orderly universe, right? What do you think is the most reasonable inference from that type of thing existing?
If I'm granting that non-physical things exist, then yeah, sure, like God, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, the question is like
you're asking like
earlier,
would be the
you granted earlier that physical stuff is not infinite in the past, and physical stuff can't just bootstrap itself. You said that like matter or PRK. Asked him earlier, is physical stuff always existed? You said no, right, Cynic?
No, I was saying that if what's it called? I was saying granting that non-physical things do exist, then they must have preceded physical things. But I would say that it's possible that physical things have quote unquote always existed. It's just that the forms that they exist in are finite. So it's like, you go finite, like, St. Aquinas' has ways, you go like back finite, back finite, back finite. And it's not like an infinite regress of back finite. It's that infinite regress is like the final unmoved mover, like our existence is. I guess it's kind of pantheism, Spinoza.
Hey, is it cool if I wrap this up? I'm getting super tired. No offense.
Yeah. It's late, bro. I also have work tomorrow. I don't even know what I'm doing. But
PRK,
I'll definitely come back though.
Yeah, Cynic, I appreciate it. I might shoot you a DM. This is a good conversation, but I
I'll
appreciate you.
bro.
Give me a follow, guys. I appreciate it. I know at PRK, I'm sure you'll be back. So you guys have a good night.
All
See
right,
ya.
you too.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
man.